saw zebras, sable antelope, brown crane, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. All this amazing experience for this price for adults? This price for teenagers. And this for kids. It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It has been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Ghana, the wait is over. The grand finale of the Energy Commission Senior High School's Renewable Energy Challenge is here. Watch as 6 outstanding schools, Presbyterian Boys SHS Presekli Gone, Adidome Senior High School, Ahantaman Girls Senior High School, Ola Girls Secondary School Kenyase, Damongo Senior High School, and Dabopa Technical Institute compete for the ultimate title of Ghana's Clean Energy Champion. Join us on Tuesday, 7th October 2025 at the Accra International Conference Center at 10 a.m. Who will rise to the top? Catch the thrilling finals live on Joy News at 10 a.m. prompt. The Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge is powered by the Energy Commission and the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition in partnership with the Ghana Education Service and the Ghana TVET Service, and with support from GIZ, Ashes University, Volta River Authority, Greenfield Ambassadors, Star Oil, and the PURC. Media partner, Joy News.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late?
Of course.
Be the luckiest, coffee from Georgia be luckiest, from not the block she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest, everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God up boom. If you put it toye, so would the coming of the Son of Man be. Hey! Is that his car?
Everywhere.
Dial star 712#. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform, and here on Newsfile we put Ghana first. My outfit, as always, is by Konati Clothing. You can call them 0244-6767-32, 6767-32, and they'll make you look good. Now, we will go straight to what we have to deal with. I am not doing Samson's Take because I'm donating my time for Samson's Take to Dennis Miracles Abuaji, who is going to make a presentation he says it's a compelling presentation to give us, some information back as to how the Galamsey fight ought to be mounted rather than the way John Mahama is approaching it, to show you how far better President Akufo-Addo did in his approach. You remember in January 2017, he banned small-scale mining completely. Repeated the ban, repeated it about 3 times. By October of 2017, it was still in force. And then in 2018, it was still in force. So, how can John Mahama claim that he's doing better at this time? Tomorrow, Democracy Hub hits the streets to protest. Monday, they hit the streets to protest. And then on Tuesday, we have the IEA also beginning a discussion on this issue. Welcome to Newsfile. This is your most authoritative news analysis platform. In the studio, Clara Berry Cassati. For those of you who have been calling for her for a very long time, here you are with her. She's a law lecturer, University of Ghana School of Law, and in private practice. Of course, here also is Roxanne Nelson Eche Kwame Dafiamapo, who is Majority Chief Whip and MP Saldai. Dennis Miracle Sabuaji stands right by my right-hand side. We will be joined on Zoom by Most Reverend Joseph Osei Bonso, Emeritus Bishop of Konongo, Mampong Diocese. As you know, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, they have been the most consistent group of religious body to be talking about Galamsey for years, decades now. Dr. Theo Echampong is political risk analyst. He also joins us. So, Dennis, let's get you to convince us that President Akufo-Addo, who just a couple of days ago said Mahama is doing poorly, did better and had superior methods that Mahama should rather emulate.
Well, Council, I think most importantly is not even to determine who did better or who is doing worse, but to get all of us to acknowledge which methods actually may work for us.
Okay.
And to determine which ones we have tried before and which ones we cannot adopt. My view is that the manner in which the conversation is going, if we don't take it, we may end up staying in the Akufo-Addo blame scenario which we suffered for 8 years and really not get any results. I really would not have gone into this conversation but for the response that His Excellency the President gave at the media engagement. There are cues in there, several cues. Number one, in the President's response, he strategically brought in an 8-year period conversation. What it does is that it's preparing the minds of the citizens.
He said Galamsey has gotten worse in the last 8 years.
He said if you look at the damage that
has been done in the last 8 years. Okay.
What it means is that if you don't take care, President, His Excellency is preparing the minds of the citizens to stay in a certain period. So he can be seen as the savior who can do the minimum and still feel good about it. And that for me is where the challenge is. Number two, I have always felt, and I've looked through a lot of reports, and I feel that His Excellency the President's commitment towards the fight of Galamsey is very low. And it didn't really start today. It seems to be a certain tendency of he laying back and doing the barest minimum he could do when it comes to the fight. And that's why I describe him as the biggest enabler of Galamsey in this country. The fact that he believes that it's okay for a country to spend proceeds of crime, illegal money, it doesn't matter where it comes from, so long as the money has come, I think I have a problem with that. I also feel that leadership must be consistent, leadership must be responsible, leadership must be accountable to the people. This really has very little to do with MPP and NDC, but more to do with who has a responsibility to deal with the issues. And let's all acknowledge that another Danko Akufo-Addo that you would want to reference, indeed, could not complete the process of the fight against Galamsey. And Galamsey Council is one of the top 5 reasons why Nana Addo and the MPP lost power. Indeed, if you are to list the top 3 reasons why the MPP lost power, Galamsey will be in it. what it means is that it's completely moot. It's a very dormant excuse to try to use Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to make an excuse. That notwithstanding, let's not make the conversation about Akufo-Addo. Let's make the conversation about triggering the president to wake up and do what he needs to do to give us results, especially based on the promises that he himself made. So we look at Galamsey, and if you talk to a 24-year-old in 2024, they are likely to let you understand that Galamsey started in 2017. In fact, in 2024, the 24-year-old was probably 10 years old in 2010. The 18-year-old was probably 4 years old in 2010. And so a lot of the people who went to vote, or about 3 million of the voters who actually took the decision in 2024, lived under the impression that they are voting against a government that is complicit in Galamsey. They are voting against a government that introduced Galamsey. And they were voting for a government that whose presence will simply eliminate Galamsey. And for me, that is one of the biggest lies that was told in the previous elections. And if we don't deal with it now, it would continue to serve as a cover and a shade for the president for him to do little or nothing. Remember, he has been a president before at a time when there was Galamsey and he failed to deal with it. So what are the issues? My view is that mining didn't start today in Ghana. Indeed, if we look at all the records, it predates even colonial era. Even the Galamsey that we refer to predates our age. However, the Galamsey that we see on river bodies and forest areas now is the type of Galamsey that we all acknowledge started between 2010 all the way to we're experiencing now. That is fact. Unfortunately, when we had the cause and the reason to fight Galamsey and fight it head on, the impression was created as if some people were actually the one who came to office, introduced the menace, and for which reason we are all grappling with, and we need to get them out. Council, I think that the way the president and the NDC managed to turn the entire country against Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the way they managed to politicize Galamsey is one of the reasons why Akufo-Addo could not complete the process of the fight against Galamsey. And I'll tell you why. Akufo-Addo remains the only president since the kind of Galamsey we are seeing today popped up, which includes the current president during his time in the first term, that was able to show proof of concept that indeed, if we put certain steps in place, we could clear our water bodies. It's Akufo-Addo. None of them. Mahama couldn't do it, His Excellency. Professor Atamils could not do it. It was Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that showed us our water could clean up. And for me, I feel really sad that we allowed the president and the NDC to mislead the entire country. And then eventually now he has power and he still wants to hide under the same cover and do very little or almost nothing. In the year 2010, 2011, Anas Arimeyao Anas and the Al Jazeera actually did a documentary. And that documentary vividly described the Galamsey situation and the water bodies. Something, if it was played today and the dates or the years are not mentioned to you, you may think was 2024 or 2022. Let's watch that video and come back quickly.
Galamsey rather seriously. Let's see how we can solve that problem, because this is a clear indication of some of the effects, yes, of Galamsey.
Far from being tackled, Galamsey is now so widespread. Miners are moving onto the river itself. Strange new boats are appearing that can suck up silt from the riverbed, sidestepping the need to dig pits along the river banks. But the constant churning has turned once pristine waters murky brown. The shorelines are scarred. Cocoa plantations crushed by the heavy machinery that is dragged across them.
This is a kind of distraction that we see in the society.
This description from Anas Arimeyao Anas. You heard Professor Mills speak. The point I wanted to make here is that let's kill that lie. I mean, they are in government now. Let's not sustain it. Because if you sustain it, what it means is that it doesn't wake the president up to find it urgent, because he could always come and tell us that, listen, I'm the one trying to help. I'm the one trying to solve, so give me time. But he doesn't have time. Because this happened under his tenure. This happened when he was president. And there are several screenshots of stories then. If you can scroll to the stories that we have. Report of Galamsey, report of people dying during his tenure, when he was vice president, before eventually he became, president. Please keep scrolling. Scroll for me. There are stories. Go. Just keep going. Keep going. So these headlines, 10 Galamsey operators buried alive. Please move to the next slide. Yes, stop Galamsey now. This is March 2010. Several stories. Please move on. Another Galamsey tragedy, 12 trapped to death. Please move on. Flood. Males angered by harmful effects of Galamsey. 2011. 300 people died of Galamsey in 2011. Move on. So the point we are making here, court not helping fight against Galamsey. This is honorable for some people. Let's stay on this. Now, this is a report that was made on Galamsey situation between 2011 and 2015. A period where the president now was vice president and president. Now, he says area of Galamsey has more than tripled from 2011 to 2015, from 10,907 to 36,000 hectares. Galamsey is affecting major rivers of Ofin, Ankobra, Brim, and Numtano. In 2013, an estimated area of 551,000 was affected by Galamsey pollution. This is a period between 2011 and 2015. This was at a time when Asiedu Nketia was in opposition. It was a major issue. Please move to the next slide. Major matter within the period. And you can see the level of devastation. Galamsey worsened in 2010 and water pollution increased. Please move on. So these stories that I have basically run us through, sometimes you realize that if I covered the dates and I read these headlines to you, the likelihood you may think they are between 2017 and 2025 is high.
That's true.
These headlines, these are almost the same headlines we are running today. And so it is completely wrong for the government of the day, in an attempt to find a solution to Galamsey, to continuously create an impression as if they are our saviors. No, they introduced it. And when I say they introduced it, I'm not saying they are mining. They were the ones mining. Indeed, let me tell you something. In the year 2016, in the year 2013, please go back a bit. In 2013, John Dramani Mahama, the president, had a course to set up an interministerial task force to fight Galamsey. Now, guess what? The interministerial task force had the responsibility to go to the mining area, arrest Galamseyers, burn excavators, burn chamfans, arrest the foreigners, and deport them to their country. It was their mandate.
Right.
Honorable Anatete was there. Inusa Fuseni Honorable was the chairman. Mahama Yariga, now majority leader Honorable, was a member. He was the environment minister. Mahama Yariga, at a point, September 2016, this was like 3 months to elections, said that he has given up on the fight against Galamsey. Indeed, he said, I called the EPA boss, I called the Minerals Commission boss, and I told all of them, look, we cannot win this fight, and that we need to look at an approach. At some point, Mahama Yariga was advocating for regularizing the illegal mining, making the point that once they mine and it can be covered, we are fine. Never within this period did you ever hear Asiedu Nketia or anybody from the MPP period between 2010 and 2016 actually attacking President Mahama and accusing him of doing Galamsey at that time. Nobody ever did that, and we should put that on record. What Asiedu did was that when 2016 September, the issue became a burning matter, 3 months to election, he said, I am proposing an alternate way of dealing with this. And I think that if we're able to put that in place, it would work. Vote for me, and let's see how we can deal with it. Nana Akufo-Addo won the elections. Fast forward, council. In the first 3 months of Akufo-Addo being sworn in, April, it was 3 months. And I hear the president says, it's just 8 months. Let it be put on record. When Asiedu was sworn in January 7, 2017, Galamsey had been running since, at least in a major way like this, from 2010. Akufo-Addo never told the country that I have just come. Please give me time, because you know that this problem has been created during the Mahama era, and so give me time, let me work on it. No, he swung straight into action. He called the media, he called civil society organizations, they sat down, they realized that the place was too chaotic, and the best approach to deal with it was to place a pause on it so they can look at how to deal with it. So, I think in April 2017, Asiedu placed a ban on all forms of small-scale mining in this country. It was a first 6-month ban, but eventually it ran for 20 months. Council, 20 months of a period in this country, Asiedu Nketia placed a ban on mining. That was the time Asiedu now embedded media houses and CSOs with the military and the police in the fight against Galamsey. Multimedia, fully embedded. When the military and helicopters, the media people are with them, taking drone shots, taking area shots and all of that. I dare say that it was Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's strategy of bringing the media into this fight that actually brought real-time update to the Ghanaian people, and I think it was one of his unmaking and undoing. Because within that period, now Ghanaians began to follow in real time the issues of Galamsey. And think about it. These 16, 17 years, 11 years, 18 years old at the time were not, they were like 6, 5, 4 years in 2010. So their eyes opened in the Nana Addo era at a time when you could see Galamsey fight everywhere. Then the NDC said, oh, we'll help you, let's do it, You know, all manner of things, because they realized that people were interested. By December 17, 2018, our water bodies had started clearing up. Council, the water bodies that were brownish, Milo color, had started clearing up. And we should watch this video.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, media houses reported, please, if you have the video of our water bodies clearing up, please, let's play that. I think it was a City Report video that I have, you know, to be played.
This is the first water body that we are visiting in the Chebi area. Ni, you were here some 3 months ago before the fight against illegal mining. Give me a picture of what the river was and now.
Yeah, because when I visited this particular place in February, it was muddy. The water was muddy. Galamsey operators were busy on site working. They had diverted its course. Indeed, they had blocked it, and then they were using the water for mining purposes. But as we can see here today, even look at the speed at which...
So, I mean, it's a long video. We don't have enough time. So the evidence is that Nana Addo actually showed proof of concept. That indeed, if we stop the kind of mining we were doing, our water bodies could clean up. You remember at some point, people were only saying that, oh, it is when the rainy seasons come and it rains, it washes the mud into our waters. And so this was proof that Galamsey is actually the reason why our water bodies were the way they are. So he introduced reforms within the period of the ban, together with CSOs, several of them. Several strategies were put in place. And some of the things that we see today, and there's also one of the points I made, that's something. We cannot have run a strategy for 8 years, which we all admit did not give us the desired results as at the time Nana Addo was living. And then you promise us heaven and earth. Then when you come to office and you are doing nothing and we ask you to show us what you have done so far, you are showing us the same things you came to meet ongoing when you were in opposition and you were criticizing. So look at the, let's go back to a few of the slides. Nana Addo was doing arrest, ban, and prosecute. Nana Addo introduced easy way and convenient way of making sure that the locals will have some safer way of doing mining. So these are mercury machines that were introduced to some of the community people so that instead of they going into the water, they stay onshore and use the machine to safely mine. Nana Addo introduced the water guards. I'm sure you have heard that anytime you ask this government one of the things they've done, one of the key things they mention is water guard. Something, let me show you evidence of water guard. Please go back. I think the water guard guys are either before this. So these water guards were introduced during the Nana Addo time. Here they are. First batch of 300 river guards begin training on Eastern River. Please move on. They were trained, they were deployed, they went into our river bodies, they started working. It still did not give us our results. Remember, at the time they were doing this, the same government that is telling us that what he has done so far is water guard, were criticizing these things. Now, when the water started clearing up to somewhere 2021, 2022, you know what happened? The NDC turned around. They turned around. But even before 2022, we were in 2019 going into 2020 elections. The NDC, who were supposed to work with the government for us to get results, now begins to go to the mining site and tell the miners that, you see, Akufo-Addo has stopped all of you from mining. We are coming into another election. Please vote for us. When we come to office, we'll allow you mine. And these are serious statements and commentaries that support the point I made that they are enablers of Galamsey. Let's watch this video.
After on the 11th, that way on the 7th, and she say, at the mom because on one of us I got now. Said the Bay, you know, no blame or where you might take a clay. Most would not have seen it. Now, so that's how the machine was 1 month. I'll be quite now, so the other Bay, now, so do Chromo call for Friday. Eddie, and 2 o'clock to Abana, John Daman Mahama, 2 direct. And then Maya said, no, Papa for him. And then I no pay, and no, for Manswabia. Also, the Galamsey, why not you born of the woman? On say 2 about 4 years, maybe a human, young came to hit me. I might say because of the other 2 about, and a woman for watching the union, he said, young to me, the young person, Galamsey, Ghana betu Galamsey. And I do mana ya no so see in another vanguard for no that over. And the players are crackers say, ye to abawia, mu be share sa vanguard in mukina. Ye international.
Ye ban. Omo amochi omo Galamsey no. Omo atu omo. Ye be ma omo amnesty no omo saba.
You are useless. You have no business governing. You have no business governing. And then he says, let us come, you and we should come together. We who want to rebuild Ghana and protect our environment, we should come together with you Galamseyers so that you influence us to do the Galamsey together or what? We should come together and do what? Can good and evil come together?
We want a ban on all forms of mining. We want a state of emergency.
Declare a state of emergency.
Just as we declared lockdown during COVID, let there be a certain declaration.
Yes, I think that national emergency be declared now.
And it is his responsibility to deal with Galamsey now.
I get very passionate when I talk about Galamsey issues because I think the president has failed. And this is not politics. This is about leadership.
A few moments later.
Implementing a state of emergency.
You see, Council, the point I'm making here is this. When Nanado started fighting Galamsey, everybody was happy. We got results. When we got results and we're going into 2020 elections, the NDC that were burning excavators in 2015, 2016 and set up a task force now goes to the mining people and tell them that these people, they are wicked people. In fact, one of the people in the video with Koku Boye was the president of the Small Scale Mining Association, Michael Prepra, actually telling them the Galamsey that he also does Galamsey. And that when they win elections, they should come and do Galamsey. That was in the 2020 elections. The president told the mining community that when he becomes president, he is going to grant amnesty to people who have been arrested, presented in court, convicted, and jailed. He will give them amnesty. These are 2 additional support to the fact that he enables Galamsey. Then fast forward, between 2022 and 2024, the government that was fighting the president for burning and arresting Galamseyers now sees that the president is not fighting Galamsey. Vote for us. When we come, we'll fight Galamsey. Then he lists 6 promises, one of which includes, I will place a ban on Galamsey in the first 120 days. Again, it is 8 months. You say 8 months is short, and yet the one you even said you will do in 120 days, you have not done it. That is a worry. Then you go on to tell the whole country, and I was shocked to the bone when the president actually told the entire country that it doesn't matter whether it is legal or illegal. After all, it is our environment that they are destroying. And so if the money comes to us, it's better than it goes to private pockets. A country cannot be seen to be exporting proceeds of crime or to be exporting money that people's blood and people's lives are dependent on it.
All right.
We are telling the president that, unlike they did when they were in opposition and turned the entire country against the only man, Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, who showed proof of concept, we in the MPP are willing and ready to cooperate with government if they take action to be able to end Galamsey.
Thank you. A good
At the moment, they have not taken any decisive action different from what they met in office. And that for me,
so they shouldn't expect any good results.
And then we can
take your seat and let's continue from here. Dennis Miracles there showing us what he says is Akufo-Addo who had the proof of concept. And I remember when the ban was placed on small-scale mining, remember not Galamsey, what it meant was that all Galamsey activities were halted. Even small-scale was stopped. And the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners called on the government several times. And I'm looking at one report. It asked that the government should immediately lift the ban on their activities to save their members from further financial crisis. the executives of the association had said that they had incurred in excess of $551 million over the ban period, and that the cost could worsen the financial woes of their members. And the government had assured that by October of 2017, the ban will be lifted. As we know, the ban didn't get lifted. They kept repeating, reinforcing it until it took about how long? Over a year before the ban, 20 months before the ban was lifted. So, do you agree with Dennis that Akufo-Addo, he doesn't seem to want to say so, but that's the main point, that Akufo-Addo showed better approach, urgency to fighting Galamsey than John Mahama is doing? Immediately he took over, he banned small-scale mining for a long period for us to have a fresh lease of life. Why is it that President Mahama cannot take this similar step? Yes, Roxanne, that's a question to you.
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to our viewers, Clara, my sister. Dennis, Happy New Year.
Good to see you, leader.
I've been seeing you in the whole year.
No, because you're a big man. I can't see you just like that.
You are on a rampage.
No. We are building Ghana.
Digging your own records.
We are building Ghana.
To offset the good things we are doing.
We are building Ghana.
Good morning to you, Samson. Good morning to my people in Southern Pekik Palik Bebetongo. Samson, I think the plot appears to be lost on Dennis. Look, Professor Frimpong Boateng, let me start with him. A whole program was set up. And Frimpong Boateng headed that program. He brought a report as to the kingpins who were, as it were, the dawns of Galamsey activities. Reported on it, according to him, submitted it to the president. No action was taken. The report was concealed for nearly 2 years until he himself came out to speak to it. So this attempt to bastardize the current processes that are ongoing, to deal with this menace that all of us agree it's become a developmental problem, is improper. Something, if the Galamsey, you see, Galamsey is an euphemism. It doesn't convey the level of devastation that is ongoing, the denudation, the level of denudation that's ongoing. You know, two things are happening to our environment. First, we are depleting the forest cover by cutting down timber stock. Huge trees, we are depleting that at a very faster rate. And then now we are digging the grounds, the red earth. When you are in a flight from Abidjan, that is where you see the extent of the degradation in our country. So, having taken over power in January, we moved swiftly into action. What did we do? We are saying that this matter, we need to regularize the activities. Regularize the activities of the small-scale miners. What they did and called it small-scale mining regularization couldn't check Galamsey. Because you have to be issued with license, you have to do all that, and the people were not ready. So community mining has been introduced as an alternative. What does that entail? It entails the involvement of everybody in a regulated environment. An area will be determined as a community mining area, and people will have plots to mine. When it is done, then there is reclamation. Reclamation is done, and then the area is planted, the environment is restored. But the community mining will not be conducted along water bodies. You didn't do that. So there's a vast difference between what we are doing presently and what you did. So the formulas are not the same. Two, You introduce water guards. Yes, I agree. But your water guards were chased out by persons who were armed. They were armed to the teeth. Your water guards were not armed. We have varied that formula. Our water guards are armed. The blue water guards, they are armed. And as we speak, just last weekend, they conducted operations and drove away arm-bearing groups who were mining in some areas that they are going to enter. So you speak of areas like the Asiedu Forest Reserve section of the, what is it called? The forest areas around the Jamira and the Asiedu Forest Reserves in the Offin shelter belt. They went to work in those areas. They are working around Boli and that stretch all the way to Hamley area. And every day they go around and check Galamsey activities. So, burning of excavators that you didn't just burn excavators. You actually brought, according to Amau, he brought over 500 excavators to Accra and parked them at an area between Medina Old Road and Adenta, that stretch, that aviation open space, open land. The excavators have all vanished during your time. So you introduced measures. You were not committed to implementing the measures to its effective implementation. So your measures failed. Our measures are not failing. So the call about the imposition of an emergency or a state of emergency, yes, constitutionally provided. Article 21, Article 31, they make those provisions. But would the imposition of a state of emergency resolve the matter? I think that there's an alternative to the imposition of a state of emergency. Because if you declare a state of emergency, you require a lot more resources to enforce it. But if you declare what I will call security zones, if you identify the Galamsey prone areas, you declare them as security zones. It is easier, they are compartmentalized. It's easier to mobilize policemen as well as military men to now guard those areas to prevent persons from entry. Then you also will take proactive steps to go in and reclaim the degraded environment and restore the water bodies. Because the blanket imposition of a state of emergency has far more consequences in terms of logistical support and mobilization than declaration of security zones. So that will be my response to him in respect of that. Now, we have about 288 forest reserves. Out of that, about 44 have been degraded. Out of that 44, as we speak, a lot have been reclaimed, over 20. And the reclamations from the Galamsey people has not been whimsical, they've been driven out. We are actually prosecuting Galamseyers. You couldn't prosecute many. You couldn't. Now, in addition to these measures, we have also introduced what we call earth-moving equipment tracking. What does that mean? Because to degrade the environment, you don't need, it's not about shovel and pickers matter. You need very heavy earth-moving equipment. And an earth-moving equipment is an equipment that is monstrous. So they are imported. Who are the people who import these earth-moving equipment like excavators? If you are not a road contractor or into very major civil engineering projects in the country, why would you bring in an excavator? For what purpose? Or you are not into mining license, registered heavy mining company. So far, about 1,200 excavators are being tracked, or they've been fitted with tracking equipment. So where the excavator moves to, it is tracked, it is checked. Those that are in the wild and they are not licensed for the purpose for which they are supposed to be done, they are being confiscated. And those who have legitimate reasons to bring in the excavators that are presently at the port, in conjunction with the Ministry of Transport, the GRA, the Customs Division, as well as the Ministry of Communication, some policies have been put in place to fit all these new ones with tracking machines or equipment, so that they are not transported to Galamsey or our forest areas for purposes of degradation. Then in addition to this is the menace of Shamfuan, this Chinese machine called Shamfuan. The task force is also tracking the Shamfuan and destroying them. And then we're also checking the importation of this Shamfuan. Because even though it serves as a generator in some communities, they are not brought in as generators. They're actually brought in at water sapping, soil sapping, fine soil sapping machines that aid them in the Galamsey activities. So these are some of the clear-cut measures. All right? So, my brother, we must commend government for the efforts that we are putting in place, very proactive measures to check Galamsey. I am an environmentalist, and as a person who takes keen interest in geography and tourism, degradation of our green forest belts is actually hurting our tourism potentials because they are destroying tourists, very beautiful tourist attractions.
So before you get into that,
yeah,
a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
You referred to Professor Frimpong Boateng's report.
Yes.
Are you by that suggesting that it was shelved, it was kept for a long time, and he had named some, kingpins, and they were not dealt with in the Akufo-Addo regime? Are you by that suggesting that report negates the facts of President Akufo-Addo's urgent and far-reaching action of a complete ban for nearly 22 years when he took over office?
It does. Because you see, when he lifted the ban, it was around the same time that he instituted a lot of programs, Operation Galamsey, Operation Vanguard, then eventually the Frimpong Boateng Interministerial Committee. I didn't set that up, he did. And they came to Parliament, we voted a lot of money for that committee's work. The committee did its work because the committee was set up for a purpose. And the chairman is the one saying that when my work was done, I submitted my reports to my supervisor. And I expected him to have acted upon the content of the report, including the recommendations. But after so long, I discovered that he was not acting on the report. So he had to go public. It was when he went public and actually leaked the report that some of us got copies. The leakage of or putting the report in the public domain didn't come from the presidency.
President Akufo-Addo.
Yes, it didn't come from the presidency.
You can't credit President Akufo-Addo for being a listening president. That he is coming into office at a time when there was pressure about ban small-scale mining, ban Galamsey, and so on. And the media coalition,
yes,
led by Kanashigbe,
yes,
kept heaping, as it were, the pressure. When they were coming into office, in the campaigns, they were campaigning about regularizing the illegal miners, just as you have just spoke about that you are also seeking to do. In fact, when Amewu appeared in Parliament for his vetting, he was talking about regularization. But the media campaign was so heavy that the president had to listen. And what did he do? That the situation is urgent. He gave a complete ban. That response is completely different from President Mohammed's response. That's the fact you are being faced with.
That's inaccurate. I gauge people from their conduct. If indeed you listen and impose an interim ban, when the ban was being lifted, you introduced measures. The measures that you introduced rather went to worsen the situation. And the chairman of your interministerial committee presented a report to you. That again is conduct. You failed to act on the report and things got deteriorated. How should I commend such a person? I would have commended him here sitting today if he had acted on that report and implemented the recommendations in pursuance of or as a consequence of the earlier imposition of a ban. Our water bodies wouldn't have
demonstrated a sense of urgency.
You see, if you demonstrated a certain sense of urgency
for almost 2 years
earlier in the year,
and stabilize your water bodies. That's what they are saying.
And then your actions
at this time, please. The turbidity level that we were talking about at that time is about how many times worse?
What were the turbidity levels when they were leaving office in December?
I'll check the exact figures for you. But it is worse now.
It is
the
not.
Ghana Water Company.
It is not.
No, it is far worse.
It is not.
The Ghana Water Company's report. I'll pull out the figures for you now.
I disagree with you.
No, you can't disagree with the facts.
The turbidity levels are not worse than they were in December.
They are worse now.
They are not.
Because when now they say that they have to treat the water
they are not.
with chemicals that cost far more.
It was the same situation a year ago.
No, it was not.
It was. Something. I'm in Parliament. It was. It was an issue in Parliament. They came before the committee. The cost of treatment of water for consumption had gone up. Had gone out of the roof.
A year ago. So we are in a worse place. We are in a bad place.
We are not in a worse place.
So the solution should not be
in a worse
going
place.
To use those solutions that don't seem to work.
I disagree with you that the solutions are not working. Because the solutions that we have introduced, because you see, the level of the degradation and the denudation has been so bad that it will take some time for us to begin to see the effect. But I can tell you that if we have guards that are armed and are chasing armed men who are into Galamsey out of our forest cover, and they are reclaiming the land, I am sure a year from now, the water levels will begin to change for good.
Really?
Yes.
It's been 8 months.
It's been 8 months,
and
but
the thing has gotten bad.
You see, the effect cannot be instantaneous. If you have visited Galamsey areas, the reclamation and the regurgitation and the rebirth.
Won't a complete ban give us a speedy recovery of our waters?
A complete ban may do. I agree with you. A complete ban or an interim ban may do. So that government can listen to that. That can we, for instance, ban the entire community mining, Galamsey, whatever it is, and put measures in place and regularize. And
in fact, that is Samuel Kudjeto's proposal.
Yes, and I agree with him that it can be done.
But you were also talking a matter which is actually not fact.
That
you said that under their regime, they were not doing prosecutions or whatsoever.
I said they didn't do much.
They didn't do much.
I said they didn't do much.
They had as many as, by September of 2024, they had as many as 850 persons who had been arrested and were being prosecuted. As many as 76 of this number had been convicted.
Do you know the proportion of the people involved in the Galamsey activity?
No, that's evidence contradicting what you sought to say.
No, I said they haven't done much. If you compare that to the number of the persons that are reported to be engaged in Galamsey in excess of 3 million, then you haven't done much. So I use proportion. So when the persons are arrested, by all means, you have to prosecute them. That's the point I made. They didn't do much in terms of prosecution. That is a fact.
Okay, hold on for me briefly.
Great.
But even before that, you know the Catholic Bishops' Conference?
Yes.
Do you remember the first time you heard them, speaking up against Galamsey?
As far back as 96 or 5. So when I was in high school.
They've been very consistent and regular on this subject, to the point that the Archbishop Bonaventure Coffee, for the diocese in Accra, got together.
That's Accra diocese.
Yes, and did a demonstration and presented a petition to President Akufo-Addo then. They say that we are in a crisis and they call it national emergency. Do you agree that it's a national emergency?
A national emergency in terms of the scale of the degradation.
You agree?
I agree.
How do you deal with a national emergency? They say that our rivers are poisoned, our farmlands are stripped, and Mohammed's refusal to declare a state of emergency is profoundly troubling.
Now, I disagree with that position because declaration of a state of emergency is done in consultation with the Council of State. And also you have to come to Parliament. I'm sure the President is being briefed. But I will favor declaration of security zones because declaration of security zones will also deal with the emergency situation of the matters. It's assumed developmental proportions. But when you declare security zones, you can't enter the area. But you see, declaration of a state of emergency, you affect the lives of persons who have no business dealing with the activity. Movements are restricted, economic activities are adversely impacted. So compartmentalize the areas and declare them as no-go areas, security zones. Simplicity. It's a better alternative to the blanket imposition of a state of emergency for me. Yeah.
Let me bring in the.
Council, I thought I would just address a few of the issues.
Hold on.
You had
hold on for me. So Erastus Asiedu is supplying me some quick information about the turbidity levels. He says that the turbidity level at Daboase went to 14,000 in 2024. The latest figures put it at 9,000. But listen to this. That of Ofeng has increased dramatically from about 18,000 to 21,000.
Yeah. Because
of what?
Yeah, because of about a month ago, when the blue water guards left the area, some armed men moved in and they worked overnight. So within 2 weeks, they had caused further pollution to the water. So just last week, the security went back to drive them away. So yes, he's right that even though it was within last 2 months or so, it increased from 18,000 to 21,000 because of these activities that, in fact, Saminja reported on this a couple of days ago. So I agree with that report.
I have some information.
But it will better. I'm sure one day.
So on your screen, you can see the water quality index of major rivers in Ghana from 2005 to 2014. We acknowledge those. We want the current figures. The current figures, and my producers are helping us to get the full picture so we can better inform ourselves. The current figures, which has led the Ghana Water Company to, make complaint and say that they need how much increment in quick,
Council,
very quick.
Yes. I know, but Council, so that we don't lose track of the Council, you see, I keep hearing the NDC use Professor Frimpong Boateng's report as a basis to bastardize another than Kweku Fado all the time, and they do it with a lot of misrepresentation. Let's admit, if the NDC insists that we should work with the Professor Frimpong Boateng's report, then Council, let's do so. I have always had my concerns and issues with that report. But if they insist, then let's do so. Go to page 13 of Professor Frimpong Boateng's report. You know what it says? Professor Frimpong Boateng says that, and I'll just move to that paragraph. The NDC was given an advantage in terms of access to resources from mining. This is because there are far more NDC people engaged in illegal mining than MPP members in the region. This is in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report.
So implement.
So please wait. Yes. Oh, Council, leader, when you were speaking, I didn't speak. I beg you. Well, I didn't speak. Council, you see, if you are to take Professor Frimpong Boateng's report and work with it, then the NDC have no business being in office. Because the report indicts the NDC than even the MPP. The report is clear. It says that there are far more NDC people engaged in illegal mining. It's on page 13 of the report. That is it. So I don't know why the NDC think that they can just pick Professor Frimpong Boateng's certain paragraph and when another Danko Ekufuado with
and as we speak today, investigations have been done, including by the Fourth Estate.
Yes.
That prove that NDC tax have taken over even proper concessions because they have come into power.
There's nothing like NDC. No, there's nothing like NDC tax.
Leader, why?
No.
Let me speak.
I disagree. No, I speak in reference to something.
Council today I need protection.
I disagree with what he just said. There's nothing like NDC tax. If tax have gone to a place to engage in a criminal activity, by all means, let them be.
It's okay.
Let the law be applied.
I beg you.
But NDC hasn't got tax that it deploys.
You can have your 10.
No, we don't have NDC
You can have your 10. I beg you.
And I wish that you can withdraw.
You can have your 10. I beg you.
Okay, so the reason I will not withdraw that is that it's standard. We know some of them, and our investigators identify some of these people.
With all due respect. With
this
member of the NDC,
let me show you this.
Why are you doing this?
September 17,
you can't say that
September
you have
17, 2015.
Doesn't breed tax.
The Fourth Estate did this story. NDC Group admits leveraging political power for illegal mining. Days after the Fourth Estate exposed how a group aligned with the National Democratic Congress forcefully took over a licensed mine in Prestia Huni Valley with the support of national security, an official of the party has confirmed the involvement of the Member of Parliament for the area. At a press conference in response to the Fourth Estate's publication, Mohammed Awal, the NDC communications officer for the constituency, told the media that the lawmaker had done nothing wrong. Again, the NDC Prestia Huni Valley communications officer claims that the MP's actions was about, quote, restoring sanity, ensuring rightful owners reclaim their operations, preventing further exploitation. So, Mr. Awal's justification for the seizure of the concession belonging to RMG Mining was that prior to the New Patriotic Party coming to power in 2016, the mine had been operated by Task Mining, but through political machinations, officials of RMG snatched it.
Council, I beg you. Let leader.
So, what does the report say?
It's okay. The viewers have heard. Let me speak. So, if Professor Frimpong Boateng's report is what they want us to work with, then indeed, it is established in that report that there are far more NDC people involved in illegal mining.
That's the point you have made.
Yes. Now, he spoke about the fact that they have introduced community mining and all of that, and Ekufuado didn't do it. That's a falsehood. Indeed.
No.
Ekufuado, leader, you can't do this to me. But I noted all the things you said.
I didn't say. I said Ekufuado introduced another form of community mining. We are introducing community mining. What you introduce has a different name. I didn't say Ekufuado didn't do it.
But I beg you, if you interrupt every point I make, it would destroy the
I actually need to move on.
No, but he hasn't given me the chance to speak. Please, I beg you. Please don't interrupt me again. Community mining was introduced by Nana Danko Ekufuado. So if they say they've introduced community mining, again, it buttresses my point. They've done nothing new. Number two, it says that because the river guards have arms under their regime, it's different from the river guards from Ekufuado. That's a complete falsehood. He's my leader, so I won't say it's a lie. It's a complete falsehood. Amma Kufibua is here. Graphic Online is here. He says, and I read, Mr. Boa said the guards, though trained by Ghana Navy, are not armed personnel. Rather, they are young people from riverine communities who have been trained to detect and report Galamsey activities. Now, he also says that Amewu brought some 500 excavators to Accra and they gone missing. You see, Honorable Dafeme Kwad really doesn't understand the Galamsey situation and he's still politicizing it, forgetting he's in power. And this will not benefit him. May his soul rest in peace. Honorable Murtala Mohammed sat on TV3 barely 3 months into their office and reported that 40 excavators that they brought are missing. 40. If 40 are getting missing in 3 months, do the calculation and find X. How many will get missing in 4 years? Let's move on to the state of emergency. He says that the state of emergency may not necessarily be an issue because, you know, the situation is there. Council, you are the Lands and Natural Resources Minister calling for a state of emergency at the time when the situation was better than now. See, I have an image that I've asked your producers to share if they can share with us. The Water Resources Commission every year actually does what they call Water Quality Index. And Council, guess what? The Water Quality Index is more comprehensive than the stability level. Because that one, it looks at 4 other issues. If you can project it for me, 4 other issues. The stability level is just one of the elements that feeds into the Water Quality Index. In the year 2010, before Galamsey started the way it is in Ghana, when NDC was in power, look at the water quality in this country. All the 40
Galamsey
water areas, all the water areas were fairly good water. Council, you say it. The orange one you see. So under 2010, we did not have any poor quality water. We did not have any grossly polluted water. We have fairly good water. Between 2010, when Galamsey started in the manner it is now and the NDC, till the time John Mahama left office in 2016, guess what? We had 15 of our water bodies only fairly good. 25 of them had become poor water quality. Within 6 years, 25 of them
and
had
by
become...
2024,
no, hold on.
The 15 went to 29.
By 2024, Nana Akufo-Addo had improved the water situation to the extent that the fairly good water, which was just 15, were now 29. And the poor quality water, which were 25, had reduced to 10.
Thank you. Hold on. Thank you. That's where you stop. Dr. Tia Champong, thank you for joining us. And I've just seen you sharing with us, flying in the skies and taking footages of very bad, circumstances as a result of Galamsey. Talk to me. Don't you think, as the UTAG, GMA, the Catholic bishops are saying, the president's response now is profoundly concerning, and this is a national emergency, and that the action needed is not what he's talking about, because we have done all of this and it's not yielded much or anything at all?
All right. Good morning, Samson. Good to see you and everyone. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Clear. Okay, so that picture actually was a picture I took last October on a flight from Takoradi to Accra. And as soon as we took off, you can see the Pra River around the Shamat side. And this is literally the river becoming like, mixed with Milo or tea, as people would say in Ghana. And for me, it did underscore the point about the crisis situation that we find ourselves in. And this particular image went several miles before you now see the water or the sea beginning to actually turn blue. So I agree with you, and then the point that have been expressed that, look, we are in a crisis situation, and of course, things have to change. But interestingly, I have been on this same platform, Samson. We can go back to October last year. I think it was the 12th or the 10th of October last year, in the lead up to the election, when Galamsey became a hot or a topical issue. And again, at that point, we had the likes of UTAG, we had the Bishops' Conference, we had Ken Ashigbe's Media Coalition on Galamsey. We had even Fixed the Country and all other different groups insisting and pushing for some form of serious action that would help, address the problem. And in the lead up to that, if you look at the manifestos that both parties actually presented, Galamsey featured prominently as a campaign item. And then I'll come to some of the things that the NDC said they would do, and then of course what the MPP also said, that they would do. A year ago when I appeared on your platform, and I will answer your question, when I appeared on the platform, I did indicate, right, probably 3 points. One, that almost 40% of the gold output that we have in Ghana comes from the small-scale mining sector. And probably even now with Gold Board and all the other interventions taking place, that number is probably gone up. Number two, 70% of all small-scale mining activities are not licensed. And even amongst those that are licensed, we are not even too sure the mining practices that they, are using, right? And that is further adding or compounding the scale, of the problem, right? So you begin to see quite clearly that we have a major problem on our hands. And this is not something that just started just today. We need to do something different. We need to do something you may call sort of radical, right? Where I sort of disagree a little bit in terms of the state of emergency, because we have had similar interventions in the past. Dennis and the likes talk about Operation Vanguard. We've had Operation Halt, where you had these militarized sweeps into different mining enclaves, different mining sites. But then as soon as the troops leave, as soon as the security forces leave, you then have the miners and the people going back to engage in the same sort of operation. So I think fundamentally, if you impose a state of emergency, or to even borrow Roxanne's words, a security zone, right? That is just going to be a short-term solution. It doesn't fundamentally address what I call the supply side issues that is actually driving, right, the menace, right? Because again, we've done a number of these interventions. It's not really work, right? So my sort of difficulty, and in a sense also the solutions I think could be done. Number one, for me, I think the first thing is let's repeal that LI, the 2462, right? That is part of the problem. The LI that gave government, and to that extent, the Mineral Commission and other bodies, the authority to license all these manner of people to actually go and mine in forest reserves. That is unconditional. That is something that even when the NDC was campaigning in opposition, they made statement to the effect that when they come into power, they will repeal that. It is 9 months down the line, and we need to see some action related to that.
Yeah,
Number
very
two,
surprisingly, surprisingly, they did a 360-degree, turnover, and decided not to repeal it, but rather amend it. In the MPP administration, in the dying days of the administration, they had started the process to repeal that law because of the pressure that was coming from the public. It is now that the government is now yielding to the pressure to repeal that act.
So then let's keep up the pressure, because yes, you're right. I know in the last days they tabled that to Parliament, and then when the new government came, not much was done on that. But for me, it's absolutely imperative. This is a low-hanging fruit, both in terms of the signaling and showing that really we are serious about addressing this problem. My second point in terms of what can be done beyond just a ban is the idea, or that now you have Gold Board being the entity responsible for aggregating all the gold within the small-scale mining sector.
Right.
But very importantly, we need to ensure that every gram of gold that Gold Board is buying is actually not Galamsey gold, right? So to that extent, how are we putting in place systems to ensure that, for example, there's traceability, that you have these licensed cooperatives?
Yes, the Gold Board Act actually has that. So it's an imperative on the Gold Board to ensure traceability. And as the president said, when he said what is being taken against him because he didn't say those rightly, they are going to now implement that process. We understand that they are working with a certain private organization to begin to implement the traceability process.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, for me, is very, very critical because, both in terms of how you assay the gold, we need the chain of custody. We need to be able to prove that, look, at the end of the day, it is not Galamsey gold that is entering into, right, the formalized systems. Again, I say this because if you even look at the Bank of Ghana's statistics, right? Recent ones on the economy, right? Our total export for the year from January to August is about $18 billion. For all of last year, it was about $12 billion. Now, if you break that number down, gold exports alone for January to August is $11.2 billion. So roughly about 63% of our total export is coming from gold, right? Okay. Both small scale and then, the other large scale mining sector. All right. It is very, very important for me that we ensure that is done. Number three, and let me make two more points in terms of what can be done, is the attempt to sort of formalize the mining or these illegal mining activities. So in both the NPP and NDC manifestos, you see some mention of what they call green artisanal mining zones, right? These cooperative models where you are geofencing the concessions, you're giving them certain equipment to be able to extract the gold in a more sort of environmentally friendly manner and all of that. But the final point that I want to make, beyond all these things which none of us is talking about, is the big elephant in the room. Who is financing and who is procuring these, mining-related activities, right? So we know that from the research, right, that there are serious political backers, there are serious people pushing and financing these activities, and they are linked to all the different parties in some shape or form. So if we go about doing all these bans and whatnot, but we don't fundamentally address the issue of the financing, the issue of the procurement, and the networks that are, hiding behind parties, hiding behind individuals to, finance and drive these activities, we only really would be, laughing ourselves in the foot. So I just want to conclude by saying that, look, you are not going to end Galamsey with soldiers. You end it by addressing or choking the inputs and the money that is going into that sector. And that a state of emergency partly only addresses part of the solution and not really the systemic reforms that really you need to address the problem.
Now, let me come to the studio to Clara. And Clara, when you listen to particularly the partisans speak, and when you listen to the Bishops' Conference, and we are trying to raise the Catholic Bishops' Conference to get a brief from them, because they have already made their point clear about how disappointing the president is moving with this. What do you say? What do you say?
Samson, it's good morning to your viewers and listeners, first of all. I haven't spoken a lot on this issue, both since it became a topical issue till date. But yes, for me, I stand with groups like UTAC, with the Catholic Bishops' Conference, my bishops, because I'm Catholic. And then everyone who is asking for urgent solutions or resolution to the Galamsey menace. I agree that it's a crisis. We are in the state of a crisis. It's a national crisis, and that it needs urgent solution. So on that, I don't have a doubt. Where I may have different views is how to fight it, or what is the best way to go about it. One suggestion, for example, is the state of emergency that has been talked about. As Roxanne noted, there's a legal framework for state of emergency. So the Constitution, because it's a very critical issue, and because it involves rights of people and the situation when it comes that rights can be suspended, the Constitution provides a framework for it. And in that framework, it's the President, it's the Council of State, it's Parliament who are the major stakeholders in determining whether or not there is a state of emergency.
There is the President's call.
Yes, it's the President's call. Not really, because he has to act in accordance with the advice of the Council of State.
But it is his call.
No, it's actually
It's the President who initiates it.
No, but if the Council of State says no, don't proceed, he can't proceed. No, that's what the Constitution says.
Yeah, then we will know.
In fact,
we would have initiated it.
In fact, if I'm to read, if you allow me to just read,
even if they say yes,
don't hijack my
can decline.
Yes, my honorable leader.
Yeah, take this.
Okay. So let's go to, if we go to Article 31, for example, and then you allow me to read.
Whilst you look for it, Professor Kojo Appiah had written in 2024, and I quote a portion of it when he called us Galamsey. He said that the NDC must support the call for a declaration of a state of emergency. However, it feels equally threatened by the call because it will curtail their ambition to continue the Galamsey loot should they come to power next year. There is also the likelihood of losing support from potential financiers who are waiting on the wings to replace the DCEs and MCEs and reconstitute the DISEX and widen and deepen the Galamsey practice, thereby taking Ghana to the next level of state capture, what is called the deep state. From deep state, we will end as a fragile state and then as a failed state. That's where we are heading.
Yes, so I want to, as a lawyer, I want to stick with the constitutional framework because that's my profession. Right. Now, I read Article 31(1) of the Constitution, and it says that the president may, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State. That's where I end. So if I read everything, it says, the president may, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State, by proclamation published in the Gazette, declare that a state of emergency exists in Ghana or in any part of Ghana for the purposes of the provisions of this Constitution. The highlighting words for me are acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State. When those words are used in the Constitution, the advice of the Council of State is binding on the president. So he cannot proceed without. If the Council of State says no, he can't proceed.
Yeah, but I mean, he has to start.
He may start. Yeah. He may consult. Yeah. It is when the words use that in consultation with, then he has to start. Yeah. But if you ask me, reading the Constitution, actually nothing stops the Council of State from starting.
How?
Because it is in accordance with their advice. So if they say this is our advice.
No. I mean, because this one, I'm not a lawyer, but this one.
Yes, you are not a lawyer. So stay out of it.
I won't.
Please. Miracles, when you were making your presentation, I didn't interrupt.
No, but I'm just making a point.
No, don't make it. Let me make my point.
The executive
let me make my point.
So as I was saying, act in protection of the state. But in doing that, there are processes they will go through.
It says acting in accordance with. Yeah. The English word there is acting in accordance with. When they say act in accordance with something, what does it mean?
It doesn't mean the person starts it. You would initiate it.
No.
Oh.
Council of State cannot get up and write and say, we are advising you to. They may, but that is not how the process will be triggered.
Okay. You've answered the question. So they may, and that's the point I was making. Please, Mr. Boachi, I don't do that.
I apologize.
Don't do that. I didn't do that. Yes, but you actually just said what I said. No,
move on.
No, you don't tell me what to
continue.
So
I hope that we don't make it as if there's a problem with declaring a state of emergency.
Allow me to make my point.
Because the law creates problems with declaring a state of emergency. And that is why we don't have it. If the president wants to declare a state of emergency, he will have it.
I'm making a point. And I'm making a point in accordance with the constitutional framework.
Right.
I am a Democrat. I do not come from the position, philosophically, that we should have a president who, controls everything. So I come from the philosophical view that institutions of state in appropriate situations should be able to determine state action. Right. Not just or only the political office of the president. That's the philosophical view that I come in. And Mr. Boachi, it's important for me to make that you actually said what I said, that nothing stops the Council of State from saying that we think that they may. You said they may.
No, I didn't say that.
You said they may.
I am saying that throughout the Constitution, there are several actions that require parliamentary approval and Council of State approval. But the onus lies with the executive to go and seek for those approval. You can't turn it around.
Yeah.
Nobody will be allowed to mislead us on that course. You can't turn it around.
You have misinterpreted what I said. So please allow me to say.
Thank you. Your point is made.
Yes, it says acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State. If the president asks the advice, the president may ask. The word is may. The president may ask the Council of State, should I declare a state of emergency? If the Council of State says, no, don't declare it, he cannot declare it. That's one. Two, nothing stops from the letter of this constitution. Nothing stops the Council of State from reaching out to the president. That's a second scenario. Nothing stops the Council of State from reaching out to the president that we think that there is a case for a state of emergency to be declared. So for me, there are two instances. One, the president can go to the Council of State. If it says yes, he may proceed. If the Council of State says no, he cannot proceed. Two, the Council of State can go to the president and say that we think you should declare a state of emergency. In my understanding of this constitution as a lawyer,
it's implied.
It says that their advice is binding on the president, and then he may declare, make the promulgation. So that's one. Now, number two.
Advice be binding.
Number two, it didn't say advice. It says acting in accordance with. No.
Because you just said they can advise and the advice is binding.
Yes.
That's why he's coming to say it. The Supreme Court has pronounced on that. Advice is not binding.
But it says acting in accordance.
Thank you.
It says acting in accordance.
The point he's making, which is clear,
if
which
you're
is
not a lawyer, don't expect people to understand
this is not in dispute.
This is not law.
We wouldn't have been going to school to discuss about law.
This is law.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is common sense. It's there, clear, black and white. What are you talking about? This is not law.
So I don't want let's be careful. Let's be careful in measuring on what we shouldn't measure on.
Thank you.
Because there's no dispute.
There is.
No. You don't know what I'm going to say. There's no dispute that if the president wants to declare a state of emergency, he can initiate the process. But he will need the advice of the Council of State, as Clara says, to be able to proceed. And even that, it will be for a period of 7 days, and then Parliament will need to confirm.
In fact, after 72 hours, he has to go to
Your viewers are watching. Listen.
Thank you.
No, Council, listen. The point is being made
please.
Please declare a state of emergency.
I did nobody said that.
Okay, so then let's establish something.
Nobody said that.
We are establishing
nobody said that.
Ultimately, the person that declares a state of emergency is the president.
That point is clear. That's not in doubt.
Then what are we discussing?
So if you keep quiet and let me make my point, you will understand what we are discussing. So you wait until you think you have understood me. So one, we are talking about the parties involved. The parties involved are three: the President, Council of State, and Parliament. The President, of course, cannot act if the Council of State says no. The declaration will be done by him, but he's not the sole party to do the declaration. That's one. Number two, there are circumstances in the framework under which you can declare a state of emergency. Yeah. One is natural disaster, any situation in which any action or any action is taken or is immediately threatened to be taken by any person or body of persons, which A, is calculated or likely to deprive the community of the essentials of life, or B, renders necessary the taking of measures which are required for securing the public safety. So there are the circumstances. Natural disaster, the situation I just talked about. What does that tell you? It talks about the essentials of the services and essentials of life to the community. That tells me that in the absence of a natural disaster, in which this is not a natural disaster, the community in which the state of emergency must be placed, their views cannot just be ignored. Now, in all of this debate that I have heard, in all of the activism that I support, I haven't heard the communities in which the state of emergency is supposed to be placed. I haven't heard anything that the communities have said, that they actually also want a state of emergency.
Should they want it?
Let me make my point. So allow me to make my point. I'm driving to a conclusion. So one, those are the circumstances. And as a Democrat, I do not think that we can just ignore the communities. But that's not just it. What that tells me is that there is more than meets the eye when it comes to Galamsey. Because if the communities are not saying anything, it tells me that there is more than meets the eye.
In fact, some communities have demonstrated about how their communities are being devastated.
Yes.
Right.
But we all agree that there is more than meets the eye. I'm sure on that we are all agreed. Now, the history of the Galamsey fight, Mr. Abuaji in his presentation made that history, which is very helpful. Now, if I take that history and then add upon it, of course, we've had Operation Vanguard by the president, President Nana Akufo-Addo. He put his presidency on the line. After that, Mr. Abuaji talked about, I think, Operation Halt. Yeah. Then there was the gruesome murder. I'm sure we all remember the gruesome murder of the valiant Major Mahama. Yeah. We come to the current regime's President Mahama's Air Force. We come to the IGP's anti-Galamsey force. We come to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, National Anti-Mining Operations Secretariat, among others. What has happened? What I have learned from all of them have failed. I don't think there's a dispute that they have all failed.
There's a dispute. He says it's too early.
In my opinion,
Robson
they have all failed.
Too early. It will take time.
In my opinion, they have all failed. Now, what I learned from all of these failures is that ad hoc solutions are not going to address the problem, one. And number two, there is a lot, much more than meets the eye. We can all do the talking. I'm sure that even some of those benefiting heavily from Galamsey are also doing the talking. And the truth is that if you go and arrest the boys who are there, the boys and girls who are there doing, I'm sure the very next day you will have another fresh one because the financiers would have an endless supply of labor. So for me, the ad hoc solutions are not helping it. And so for me, I would take from what Mr. Abuaji said earlier on about the fact that what I am happy is that I think we are reaching the point where we all agree that the Galamsey issue has to do more than NDC and NPP. So if you ask me, we need to take the approach of addressing the Galamsey issue from the political actors to state institutions. If you look at the Constitution, it provided for the establishment of the Minerals Commission. And so that the Minerals Commission would be capacitated by an act of parliament to address issues on mining and all of that. If you ask me, a more sustainable way is for us to let the Minerals Commission lead the effort. We cannot pretend that the issues are not as big as they are. They are. I won't be surprised even if the Galamsey fight, there are also even issues of arms involved. So that if you went ahead, for example, to declare a state of emergency, I am not sitting on the facts. I don't even know whether we could actually, there's a potential to create internal instability.
But you support it.
The state of emergency. No, I don't support it. I don't say do it or don't do it because I don't have the information. I don't like to make.
I thought you said you support the Catholic bishops and the rest.
I support the urgent needs to address the problem.
You're also a member of UTAC.
Yes, I support the urgent needs.
UTAC says do it now.
I am not. I don't support that. Do it now, like declare a state of emergency now, for two reasons. One, I don't know the facts. And the reason I say I don't know the facts is that, but I know.
The facts are that.
No, let me explain what I say.
The communities where they are saying do this targeted, declaration are devastated. As we speak, the excavator imports into this country on a daily basis is about 200. The government says this is really bad, so it has put a ban on excavator import, and is now looking for places to keep them. As they are transporting them to some military place, we are getting information and even evidence that while the transportation is going on, some are being diverted, as in released to the owners. Okay. We know excavators can be used for several other things, but Galamsey appears to be the chief reason for their import.
That's where I come in with the
our water bodies, and I've just received the stability level water quality assessment impact. Our water bodies, some of them are extremely terrible.
That's why I say, as for the crisis, I am not in doubt of the crisis.
So we need to stop it. How do we stop it?
That's where I'm coming to. So if you are saying that declare the state of emergency, I don't know whether we have the capacity. Now, two, I don't know whether there would be internal instability. And if there is internal instability, whether we have the capacity to contain it. I don't know.
What capacity are you doubtful we don't have?
One, if I were...
The army?
No. If I were the commander-in-chief, I would be very hesitant to open fire on any of my citizens. So I would I would consider the potential to do so only if it is necessary. Now, in my situation, so that's why, if you ask me, the ad hoc, I've just said that for me, I don't think the ad hoc, let's do this, that we are all talking about will solve the problem. I am more for a sustainable action led by the Minerals Commission. Not that they should do it, but led by them.
Those are these situations or solutions you have just pronounced have failed.
No,
and
I haven't heard the Minerals Commission in all of this.
You said these processes we have done over the period have failed.
Because they've been ad hoc.
Right, they have failed. Yeah,
that's why they have failed.
And there's a need for
a more sustainable solution.
Clean start.
Not if there's a clean start necessarily.
Okay, if there's a need for a clean start or whatever it is, your water bodies are being polluted. You are sitting here in Accra, and the Ghana Water Company is telling you are going to have to import water in less than how many years from now. The water you have, you don't even drink from your taps anymore. Your contombre and your pineapple, all your fruits, you are being told that there's substantial, metals into them.
I get it. But so, I have also lived in this country through all the efforts that I have just said, that I know enough that just shouting this and just shouting that doesn't solve the problem.
What else should happen to trigger a state of emergency? That's the question.
No, will a state of emergency solve it? That's my question. And my answer is, I don't know. So it is not that we don't have the set of situations to trigger a state of emergency. My issue is, will a state of emergency address the problem?
Okay.
And that's where, let me finish. So, and that is where I am not very sure, because I don't know. I am not sitting on the facts. I don't know whether in fact it will. I don't want another situation where we do that one, then we come back here like we've been doing. So we start this operation, it doesn't work, we come back here. This operation, how many operations do we want to start?
You know when we ban small-scale mining?
After 7 days, then you go to Parliament. How long are we going to have a state of emergency? 1, and 2, will it address the problem? So I want a more sustainable solution. And that more sustainable solution is what I say that let's let state institutions work. So let's capacitate the Minerals Commission. Let them do 5 things. I would want to see comprehensive and credible data. I would want to see a holistic consideration of the issue from all perspectives. The illegal miners, their real bosses. I am not convinced that these financiers are some small people sitting somewhere that you can just override like that. We need to consider all of the perspectives in all of that, including China. Let's have discussions with China, because we also know the issues that come in from the Chinese. Then let's see a document that provides a roadmap for 2 things. 1, short-term solutions to address this problem, and then 1, a long-term, more long-term, because before our independence, right from the colonial days, mining has always been an issue. I don't think this is
I'll go to the Most Reverend Joseph Osei-Bonsu, Emeritus Bishop of Konongo, Mampong Diocese. Thank you very much, Bishop, for joining us, and thanks for your patience. We have heard you, the Catholic bishops, consistently, and as I said before, I don't think I remember any religious grouping or any, if you call it CSO or NGO, that has been as consistent as the Catholic Bishops' Conference in the fight against Galamsey. You say that the president's refusal to declare a state of emergency is, quote, profoundly troubling, because in your estimation, Galamsey is now a national emergency. It's a crisis. Yes. When we banned small-scale mining, within that same period, we were told that that was the period that we had the most exports of small-scale gold. The most export was within the period we have banned it. Regardless that within that period, yes, the water appears and the water bodies appears to have gotten a better, life to start. Why are you still insisting on a state of emergency?
Well, as you have said, we have spoken about Galamsey for many years. Almost every year, whenever plenary, we talk about it. We live with the people, we're in rural areas, we are in all parts of Ghana, and we know what is going on. And we feel that something drastic should be done. Now, if it's not the use of a state of emergency, something drastic should be done. Ghana is at war. We are not at war with the Togo or Ivory Coast or Burkina Faso. We are at war with Galamsey. And if we don't take care, a time will come when we will get plenty gold to export, but then there will be no water to drink. And Ghana will cease to exist. And so while we think of improving the production of gold and all that, we should be serious about Galamsey, which is destroying our water, destroying our land, and so on. So it doesn't matter the term that you use, but we feel that government should do something very drastic about Galamsey. Otherwise, the nation Ghana will cease to exist.
And for our viewers, the what you had on your screen a while ago, when you see, you know, the colors, this is what they represent. When you see the blue, it's good water quality. And you can see that you hardly find it in there. It's in 2006 and 2007 that you have some spots of, you know, good water quality. Just 2 occasions, in 2006 and 2007, and that was within the River Densu. Okay? Yes, River Densu. When you see green, that is fairly good water. Fairly good water. If you see yellow, that is poor water quality. And you see yellow all over. Poor water quality. And then when you see the red, it's grossly polluted water or inaccessible water body. Really, really bad. Yes, so Bishop, my question was that as we are hearing, the president doesn't seem willing and ready to do the targeted state of emergency as has been called for by the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey with Kanashigbe, Frank Edu Jr., Yawin Sako, and the rest of them in there, Senyor Husi, and the rest of them in there. The UTAC says it must happen now. The Ghana Medical Association are also back, saying it must happen now. Now, the Catholic bishops repeat their call that there must be a targeted state of emergency. The president doesn't think this is the solution. So what shall we do?
Now, if all these groups are saying the same thing, then the president should rethink. As a politician, maybe he's thinking about the amount of gold that we can export, the amount of money that we can get. But as I said, at the end of the day, when you get all this gold, will you be able to eat the gold? Will you be able to drink it? You need water to drink. You need good water for all kinds of things. And so the president should listen. All these groups that are speaking, they are citizens of Ghana, they know what is going on, and the president should take them seriously.
Okay. Is it tomorrow the Democracy Hub group is beginning a vigil, their protest that they have been doing over some years now? On Tuesday, the IEA is organizing a discussion on, you know, how we can avoid all of this. So do you get tired as a conference? You have issued these statements over and again. And as I mentioned not too long ago, the Archbishop Bonaventure Kofi, under his auspices, the Accra Diocese also did actually a protest walk. And the ultimate call was the state of emergency. And it doesn't look like any of the presidents, they are interested in that.
It's unfortunate, you know, I'm not being political, but the right thing should be done. Whether it's NDC government or MPP government, Ghana comes first. Our welfare comes first. And so whatever needs to be done, should be done, so that we can preserve our water bodies, we can preserve the land, and so on.
Clara here supports your call, but he doesn't support, she's not too sure if this is the way to go with a state of emergency. And she feels that even if you have to activate a state of emergency, the sort of the concerns of the indigenes of these Galamsey areas should be sought. Do you agree?
Well, they should be contacted, but they all know what is going on. They know that they are not getting good water to drink. They know that they cannot plant their crops. The crops are not yielding any good fruit. And so they are also concerned. And I'm sure that if you go to them, they will tell you the same thing. They are not happy with the situation. Even though their sons and daughters may be bringing gold, they know that it's not the best. So it all depends on what we mean by state of emergency. We are not saying that the whole country should be in a state of emergency. We are speaking of targeted areas. And if you can deal with the most critical areas, we're getting somewhere. But not to start at all, that's not good.
A part of Clara's concern, as others also do, is that a state of emergency brings in very drastic, sort of unconstitutional actions. Human rights will be, of course, there will not be anything like human rights because it will completely freeze the law's operations in those areas. They are likely to shoot and kill, you know, and so on. Have you gotten there?
Yes, they can work out the modalities, how you are going to go about it. You know, I'm not a politician, I'm not a soldier, I don't know what it involves. But something should be done because if we continue this way, we're not going to get anywhere.
Thank you very much.
They are lawyers and they know the Constitution and so on, that's fine. But at the end of the day, it's the welfare of the Ghanaian. That is paramount. Okay? And so if at the end of the day, we can't get water to drink, we can't get food to eat, then where are we?
Thank you very much for making time to join us this morning on Newsfile. The Most Reverend Joseph Osei-Bonsu, Emeritus Bishop of Konongo, Mampong Diocese. We're going to take a break, but before that, I want to end this discussion here. Yes, I know your hand has been up, so just quick.
So one, I believe that His Excellency was voted to deal with a lot of problems, including Galamsey. He has instituted some measures, including a form of a community mining called cooperative and sustainable mining. We should allow that to happen. Emergency, imposition of state of emergency. Clara has gone into the matters. It hasn't solved the problems anywhere. Indeed, we have security situations in the north and some places of the country. State of emergency have been imposed. They haven't resolved the communal conflicts. So, like she said, it's become an ad hoc measure. It won't resolve the issue. So what should we do? There must be an interim measure, but the interim measure must necessarily lead to a long-term resolution of the problem. So I agree with her that we can't be doing the same things and expect the same results or expect a different results. We have to change our tactics. Changing the tactics is the communities themselves are now involved. So they are not complaining. That's a point, that if you want to impose a state of emergency on an area, you need to take the area's concerns into consideration. But the area is not talking. They are not calling for a state of emergency.
A few communities have spoken up anyway.
Just a few. But sometimes I'm telling you that, like the middle to the southeastern zone of the entire country is degraded from the air. So that is about 3-4 regions put together. And then about 2 regions up north. So about 2/3 of the country or 3/4 of the country is totally in this matter. So for me, the solution that for me can deal with the issues is to zone the places and securitize it. You cannot enter. Anybody involved in normal or regular commercial activities should be able to go about this as a business. But where an area has been zoned as a security zone, entering those areas become very difficult for you. So an excavator cannot be ferried into a forest area without necessarily going through some checks. So yes, imposition of state of emergency, but Clara has made the point, so I won't belabor it. It won't solve the problem.
Okay.
What will solve the problem is to securitize it. Let security people take charge.
Okay, so thank you. This is where we draw the curtains on this subject.
I need 30 seconds.
You give us,
yes.
I mean, he used 2 minutes.
Yes.
Give all of us 2 minutes.
No, a minute each.
So, counsel, you see,
we need to go on a break now.
The only thing any lawyer has over me is the proceedings in court and the processes. Otherwise, you have nothing else on me. As for the proceedings, how to file your motions, those things, yes. But the thing is black and white. You see, Article 31, President can even declare the state of emergency before he goes to Parliament. It is here. The President may, acting in accordance with the advice of Council of State.
You just mentioned Council of State.
Oh, I beg you.
You just mentioned Council of State. 30
seconds, go on, relax.
Yeah, so don't misinform the public. You did that to me, so I will do it to you.
Can you stop me so I go on? The President may, acting in accordance with the advice of Council of State, by proclamation published in the Gazette, declare that a state of emergency exists in Ghana or any part of Ghana for the purposes of provision of this constitution. Then it says, notwithstanding any provision of this article where a proclamation is published under clause 1 of this article, the President shall place immediately before Parliament the facts and circumstances leading to the declaration of state of emergency. Finally, Parliament shall, within 72 hours after being so notified, decide whether the proclamation should remain in force
or not,
or should be revoked, and the President shall act in accordance with the decision of Parliament. What these 3 things I've read simply mean is that the President may go to the Council of State for advice. If they advise him against it, he can ignore it, because that one, the Supreme Court has already ruled that the President doesn't have to work with the advice. Then he would go ahead to declare the state of emergency. Now, when he declares it, at the time he's declaring the state of emergency, he doesn't require parliamentary approval. After he has gazetted the state of emergency and is in force, he has within 72 hours to go to Parliament for approval or ratification. At that point is when Parliament can decide that the state of emergency you have established or implemented can stay, or we think you should revoke it. Please, let's not do this to our public. This is black and white.
Okay.
This is not courtroom law. Finally, I beg you, counsel, let's be consistent. At least as leaders, if we change our minds, let's give cogent reasons why we've changed our minds. Honorable Dafiamepo, and I've given the video to the producers, they can play it. In October 2024, was forcefully, aggressively calling for a state of emergency at a time when the water quality as of 2024 had 25 water better, way better than 2016 when they left office. Today, go to Kwenyako, more than half of Central Region do not have water.
Okay.
And he's telling us that all of a sudden, he has shifted from a state of emergency towards military area.
I am saying,
fair enough.
But what I am saying is securitizing the zones is better.
The way you guys are treating me on this, I'll get to
Thank you, Clara. Yes, let's have Clara. Let's hear Clara.
So, yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Clara. Let's hear you.
So, yes,
guys, Clara, yes.
So, in short, yes, as I noted earlier on, what he just read shows that there are 3 stakeholders in it. I am not sure that anybody just thinks that if we declare a state of emergency for 72 hours, for example, it is, even let's say that the Council of State agrees and it is imposed after 72.
They don't have to agree.
It says acting in accordance
Your point is made, so leave it alone.
It says acting in accordance with the advice. So 72 hours. I am not sure that it is after the 72 hours that Parliament says, okay, don't go ahead, that we have solved the problem. Now, to make it to be very clear, right from the Nanado days, I never said anywhere that President Nana Akufo-Addo should declare a state of emergency. I never said that. Never.
No, I don't think anybody has said so.
No, because it is insinuated that as if I said something earlier. It's insinuated. So I have never said that President Nana Akufo-Addo should declare a state of emergency. And I have never told President Mahama also to declare state of emergency. And my reasons are what I have just said, because I understand the potential for human rights when a state of emergency is conducted, is declared, 1. And 2, I am not persuaded that that is going to necessarily solve the problem from the evidence that I have seen. Because you declared and then connected people will be there doing the Galamsey. You just give some other more people advantage to go and be doing the Galamsey. That's the evidence we've seen so far with the ad hoc measures. So that's why I want the situation moved from political actors. Of course, they will be involved, consulted, but I want it led by state action so that it is more sustainable. It doesn't matter whether it's NDC in power or NPP in power. We have a state institution that is capacitated to understand the problem from all angles and to continuously deal with the problem so that we are more in a position to long-term solve the problem rather than the bright ideas here and there.
You two, just a minute. This emphasis about many people about human rights. We are told that Galamsey is an existential threat. It threatens to wipe all of us out of, this Ghanaian earth. So what is this human rights abuse or human rights things we are afraid of?
That it will solve it. Not only the human rights.
Because that's a few or a section of the people will suffer, we should allow it so that all of us will suffer in the end?
No, not that only the human rights, but whether in fact, when you actually, with the evidence that we've seen, we are convinced that somebody will not be
Since we haven't
doing
tried
the
it, let's try it and see. Or yes,
we are all suffering already, right? So further downstream, the river that we are drinking, the water that we're taking, the food that we're eating, collectively, we are all taking the hit for it. You can look at the cases, people turning up, at the hospitals and whatnot. So it is not just an issue of what the communities think. It is an issue of how it affects the broader totality of Ghanaians. And that is really what should go into the decision-making process. But, like Clara said, and I have also said 1 year ago, I don't think that the state of emergency is necessarily what will solve the problem. It's an ad hoc or an extemporaneous measure. But really, the long-term radical solutions that we need to do and some of the things that are on the table that we should have been doing are the things that we're not doing. So for the optics, it may look good. You may see some soldiers going to clear the, Galamsey site and whatnot. But at the end of the day, if you don't really take the long-term measures to try and improve things, repeal some of those laws, deal with the, supply side issues in terms of the people financing, the elements within that. Look, we are all just going to be kidding ourselves, really at the end of the day. And that is what really must go into the interventions that we make. As for the constitutional provisions, it's there, but it requires systemic action. And what we need is consistency, and what we need is more coordination. I don't even think, just a last quick point, I don't even think that the Mineral Commission necessarily is the one to fully deal with this. They are part of the problem. I have made this argument on several other platforms.
We'll take a quick break here. We'll return, and when we return, we are going to canvass the other matters that we have tabled for you. What it means is that we have to really race against time over those ones. But these discussions have been important. Imani has a pulse report, and that pulse report says that goodwill for the government is dissipating fast because they are not doing enough over Operation Recover or Loot and so on and so forth. Dismissal of people from their jobs and so on have not been good for them. And of course, the fight against Galamsey is also looked at as one of the issues that, the manner in which the people expected it to be fought is not happening that way, with a repeal rather than an amendment rather than a repeal of the law as was promised. And Justice Torkornoo says that, please just let me do my judge duties. You can't sack me remove me as CJ and remove me also as a Supreme Court judge. I think when we return, we'll briefly look at that and then proceed to the next issue. We'll be right back.
Still, Misaka, and Nemum was a summer brabo, and it can afford Swabrabo.
Misaka pensions, Carol.
Misaka or the Sika.
Misaka insurance.
Mesu Misaka Lono.
Momo Fogusuri ye ejumaden. Dia boye nyina ye sika ho ban. Se MTN ana momo jumaye ni befrewa. Or the 0244 300,000 ene befrew. Na numpo orimbi saw one time password. Ana se upin code. Enti wonso ye wa femu die na ma weni na ho na wonsa enka omumu.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valixlease.com or call 0244 644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valix Lease, affordable document management solutions.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa. Why wouldn't he be late? Or being late, of course.
Go give me the luckiest. Go be from your be luckiest. From not the because she be luckiest. Yeah, you go give me luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame.
Send your God down for boom. If you're poor, what's that toy? So would the coming of the son of man be. Hey! Is that his car?
Everywhere.
Dial *712#. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
As a young mom, you're not always sure that you're doing it right. Choosing a baby care product for your child can sometimes be difficult. I choose BabyMed Hypoallergenic Skincare products, specially formulated to suit my baby's fragile and sensitive skin. A complete range of products that makes every bath time a moment of tenderness and well-being. BabyMed, baby-specific care products.
Every dream starts with a prayer, and every prayer ends with a promise. At Blue Financial Services, it is our passion to make you smile, to show you that your smallest deposits can lead to major financial wealth. From the early days, taking that first big step, to the days of joyous maturity, we will be with you. So that when it is time to dream again and you're ready to invest your hopes and dreams into the future, we will still be here with you. So dream again and trust in Blue Financial Services. Visit our branch today for a better future tomorrow and trust in Blue Financial Services.
Now let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park.
Welcome to Safari Valley Eco Park.
Our electric shuttle pulled up and in no time our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the Eco Park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown cranes, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. All this amazing experience for this price for adults? This price for teenagers. And this for kids. It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It has been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Good business means seeing the possibilities and maximizing opportunities. Making sure you have a responsive support system backs your business goals. A partner that gives you a stable platform with reliable connectivity and seamless solutions, and better understands the tools required to take you to the next level. With so many moving parts in running a business, we do our best to provide you with some stability. The only kind of stability you can find with MTN Business Broadband, the fastest and most reliable internet provider in Ghana, making sure you stay ahead and stay connected, because we understand what makes your business tick.
Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh or call or WhatsApp 0244 308 111.
MTN.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244 644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valexlease, affordable document management solutions.
Ghana, the wait is over. The grand finale of the Energy Commission Senior High School's Renewable Energy Challenge is here. Watch as 6 outstanding schools, Presbyterian Boys SHS Presekli Gon, Adidome Senior High School, Ahantaman Girls Senior High School, Ola Girls Secondary School Kenyase, Damongo Senior High School, and Dabopa Technical Institute compete for the ultimate title of Ghana's Clean Energy Champion. Join us on Tuesday, 7th October 2025 at the Accra International Conference Center at 10 a.m. Who will rise to the top? Catch the thrilling finals live on Joy News at 10 a.m. prompt. The Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge is powered by the Energy Commission and the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition in partnership with the Ghana Education Service and the Ghana TVET Service, and with support from GIZ, Ashes University, Volta River Authority, Greenfield Ambassadors, Star Oil, and the PURC. Media partner, Joy News.
Miss
VIP.
Magnetic perfumes.
Let's talk hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids are normal structures located in the anus of all mammals.
But it is only man who suffers hemorrhoidal disease because of the erect posture we have assumed and the squatting that we do to empty our bowel. Hemorrhoids consist of a special type of blood vessels which fill with blood when we are moving our bowel and help to cushion the anus against the force of transmitting the stool. Afterwards, they empty their blood, collapse, help seal the anus to maintain continence. Over time, these vessels lose the elasticity of their walls, become dilated, permanently filled with blood, leading to congestion of the hemorrhoids. The symptoms of hemorrhoids are bleeding and prolapse of the hemorrhoids when passing stool, itching and feeling of warmth in the anus, and anal discharge. Laser, ligature, and longo are the modern, minimally invasive, most effective, and painless methods of treating hemorrhoids today.
Winterba Hospital, First Ghana Colorectal Center, in to serve a peculiar health need.
authoritative news analysis platform, and here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. My guest, Clara Berry Kasati, is law lecturer, University of Ghana, School of Law, and is in private practice, also with the CDD Ghana. Roxanne Nelson Dafiamapo is Majority Chief Whip, and MP Sandai. Dennis Miracle Sabwaji is Director of Communications, the Bamia Campaign, and Dr. Theo Echampong is Political Risk Analyst and Economist. Now, let's get to the next issues that we are canvassing for you. The Chief Justice is in the High Court saying that you removed me as Chief Justice using a procedure for removal for a Chief Justice. You didn't trigger the procedure for removal of a Justice of the Superior Court. I am first a Justice of the Superior Court before I am a Chief Justice. So I must remain as a Justice of the Court. What do you say? And this show is brought to you by Candace Sponsor, Bank of Africa, strongest group, includes a partner, MTN everywhere you go. Ashasi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert & Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 33 plus years. My Way Insurance. Dial *165# on MTN to join My Way today. Syntax Tank is strong, it's tough. Activa International Insurance. Our clients are Pashing International Facilities Management Association. They are proud to be associated with your most authoritative news analysis platform, Newsfile. Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature. So on that matter, let me begin with Roxanne Nelson Dafiamapo. But before I do that, I think that I have the obligation to clarify one issue that came up. Two suits were brought to the Supreme Court in 2015 by the Ghana Bar Association and Richard Dela Sky. And they were asking the question whether advice is binding on the president. The Supreme Court held that advice, when it is being sought for by the president in certain circumstances, is not binding. When the advice is for a consultative process, it's not binding. Like seeking to appoint the EC chair, which led to Richard Sky's rate, seeking to appoint judges, which led to the Ghana Bar Association's rates. That kind of advice is not binding. But the kind of advice as we see in Article 31, where the president is asked to act in accordance with the advice of the Council of State, that kind of advice is binding. Thank you. Yes, the CJ.
Yet, the CJ is in court, praying the court that her excision from the judiciary, as it were, as Chief Justice cum Justice of the Superior Court, should be looked at again, because constitutionally she's entitled to remain as a judge. Even though the procedure was or the processes that led to her removal was in respect of her position as CJ. That is untenable. That is not the constitutional architecture that we have. Our constitutional architecture is the effect that the CJ sits in a composite capacity as a judge as well as head of the judiciary.
Dual roles.
And therefore, where your activities of your administrative functions have been called into question and leading to a petition resulting in your removal, it also affects your role as the judge, because it goes to the propriety of being eligible to sit or to be fit for purpose as a judge, judge. And this is not the first time this matter has come before the courts or engaged the courts in these issues. 30 years ago, the Ghana Bar went to court to, as it were, get Justice Aban removed. And in the course of the preliminary objection raised by the then Attorney General, the court upheld the preliminary review, but in the course of writing the ruling, the reasoning behind the ruling, people like Pega made this very important dictum that should guide us. It was of the opinion that the processes that was before them, if it succeeds, it will lead to the removal of the Chief Justice, not as mere Chief Justice, but also as a judge of the Supreme Court. Then again, in the matter of Asiedu, Justice Dateba went to town. He actually exploded.
So you refer to a first one 30 years ago.
Yes.
You refer to a second one, which
in
was
fact,
in
10 years after.
2006.
In fact, 2005, 2006. 10 years after, Asiedu went to court. And to challenge the contents of the petition linked, that's Bright Akwete's petition. Again, the court took the trouble to explain that if the processes succeed, it would lead to the removal of the Chief Justice as well as a judge of the Supreme Court. Then finally, CJ's own case, her own case, one of the cases she took to court a couple of months ago, there's Amadou Tanko. He reasoned this way, and this on page 26 of 32 of the ruling, of the judgment of the court. He said, as part of the conclusions, the above observations provoked by paragraph 12 of the applicant's affidavit aside, I need hardly say that I arrive at the conclusion that this application must fail without relish. Mindful of the fact that the applicant, the Honorable Lady Chief Justice of the Republic, is going through a process that may define her career on the bench as Chief Justice and as a judge one way or the other. So this is a beaten path. It is settled. There's nothing to be determined otherwise. Yes, it's right. You see, because the propriety of your conduct as a superior court judge, which may lead to your removal as a basis of a petition questioning same, is the same as the propriety for the removal of a court of appeal judge, of a high court judge.
But the argument she makes is that in Article 146, if you want to remove a superior court judge, you use Article 146 Clause 4.
Yes.
But if you want to remove a Chief Justice, you use Article 146 Clause 6. So why do you use 146 Clause 6 process to remove her and then come to argue that, and you issue a warrant under the hand of the president, and you issue a statement also signed by Dr. Callistus Mahama, and you say you have been removed as Chief Justice and a judge?
Yes, because
when you use only one procedure, not the other procedure.
Because the procedure in 1464 is in respect of a superior court judge, which could be a high court judge. That was not the terms of the petition that came before the president. It was the petition against the removal of the CJ. And you can't be a CJ without necessarily first being a superior court judge. In this case, a Supreme Court judge. And Article 128(1) is very clear. The Supreme Court shall consist of the Chief Justice and no less than 9 other judges of the Supreme Court. You are the chief of all the judges.
The Chief Justice is actually a judge in all the courts.
In all the courts. That's our constitutional structure. So you are actually the chief of all the judges. So where your conduct has been called into question, that leads to your removal as the head of the judiciary. There's no way you should survive.
The Chief Justice is an administrative role.
No. The Chief Justice is not merely, that's only one part. The other part is that you're also a Supreme Court judge. You actually empanel the court and you sit.
That's an administrative role.
Yes. But you hear decisions. You deliver judgments. So you can't say that where your functions as an administrative arrowhead is called into question, has been determined, pronounced upon, as being a basis for your removal, we should now allow you to sit as a judge. Because it's the same grounds. In fact, if you take the code of conduct for judges in this country, a breach of one of this code to lead to the removal of you as a CJ. just a breach of this one code.
Yeah, so the argument is not about the CJ.
The argument is about the fact that she's trying to decouple herself from her role as a CJ.
Is it true that she performs dual functions?
It is true. That is the Constitution.
Okay.
The Constitution says to be a CJ,
Clara,
you perform dual functions. You sit as a judge.
Clara, help us. Do you subscribe to that kind of argument that we go to Pegan's pronouncements, as he said some 30 years ago, then we go to Ejechum 2006, then we come to Databa Modibo Okran, rather read Modibo Okran, and so on. Yes.
For me, I would go back to the constitutional architecture.
Okay.
It provides the grounds for removal, whether as CJ or as Supreme Court judge.
Separately?
No, the grounds are the same for both.
Okay.
The grounds are stated misbehavior or incompetence or ground of inability to perform your office. It is the procedure that is different. Because if it was a Supreme Court judge, you would have to refer the petition to the CJ to make a prima facie case. But if it is the CJ, of course, then it's we've just seen how that process has
President
followed.
And Council of State.
Exactly. So the second thing is that if the person is a CJ and you even actually bring a petition not to remove them as a Supreme Court judge, you can't go and refer it back to the CJ for the CJ to make a decision whether he or she themselves have. So the truth is, even if you were making the claim against the person as a certain Supreme Court judge, you would, and the person is a CJ, you would still have to use a procedure for CJ. Now, for me, I would differentiate personally. Now, this one is my personal. So that's the constitutional architecture.
Sorry, say that again. Did you say if you are seeking to remove a Supreme Court judge, the procedure to be used will be that for the CJ?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying that if you brought a petition to remove the CJ in her capacity as a Supreme Court judge, you would still have to use the procedure for CJ because she's CJ.
All right.
You get what I'm... She's CJ, so you can't refer it back to herself to make a prima facie case and all of that. So I think, for me, I wouldn't split heads over the grounds because they are the same, or the procedure because once the person is CJ, that's the only procedure you can use, whether you are removing them as Supreme Court judge or CJ. What I would differentiate, and now this is my personal view, is that I would differentiate between whether it was it was related to the administrative role or it was under the grounds. Because if it is under the grounds, it's really splitting heads to say it. For me personally, for me, I've always, one of the things I believe in, which I've been talking about, is rules of procedure for Article 146, not just only for the CJ, but rules of procedure for all those who come under Article 146 removal, just for fairness and transparency and clarity. So at least everybody knows the procedure that they are going to follow, and then it takes place. Since we don't have time, that is what.
Rules of procedure have been asked for over the years, but they have not been made.
Yeah, unfortunately. And I don't have the power to make them. But yes, I would advocate that they be made.
At pains in a Ejechum to say that it should be done and done immediately.
It's important.
And it's still not done.
We have rules of procedure for everything. So we have rules of procedure for the district court. We have rules of procedure for the high court. We have rules of procedure for the court of appeal, rules of procedure for the Supreme Court. Why not rules of procedure for Article 146 removals?
Over the years, they have been using...
We have rules of procedure for disciplinary hearing of the GLC.
Yes. I think the rules of procedure...
Over the years, they will adopt the CI 47. That's not good.
No, let's just make rules of... let's just do the rules of procedure for Article 146 so that we know, anybody coming under it, we know how the rules change. Why it is also important to have rules is that what the CJ is complaining about, that I didn't get A, B, C, D. So if there's a problem with the rules, we can amend them.
Okay.
So at least we can grow whilst we have rules.
Right. Mama Yarga says they are going to make rules now. Let's see what difference those rules will bring anyway. Dennis, do you share a different view? The Constitution says that to become a justice of the Supreme Court or the Superior Court, or even a judge, you must be a person of high moral character and proving integrity. High moral character and proving integrity. And to lose that job, you must have been found to have conducted yourself, stated misbehavior, or incompetence, or infirmity of body or mind, and so on and so forth.
So I think that when it comes to issues like this, nobody should assume any role or responsibility that the law doesn't give you. I believe that we need to be a bit more fair to the Chief Justice. At this point, after whatever the government wanted to do, they've done, I think it's time for us to calm down and begin to give her some hearing. I have always had a problem with the basis for her removal and all the things they went through. I mean, first of all, I think that there is no audit report from any Auditor General indicating the primary, allegation they used against her. And I don't think our laws allow any other committee or body to determine these things other than the Auditor General. I am very sure that when this government eventually leaves office and this woman gets an opportunity to go through this process again, we'll see a lot of gaps. But it's okay. For now,
it's not only the financial impropriety
most of them, that
was used.
Most of them. I mean, for now,
according to the outcome and the letter that communicated her removal,
I agree.
She was also found.
As it stands now, nobody has even seen the report. Okay. Even she herself has not received a copy of the report from the president. The only thing she's received is a letter from the secretary indicating that she's been removed.
That's precedent.
I'm just saying that as of now, she hasn't received it. So we don't even know. We don't even know in proper terms the basis for a removal other than what the president has stated. That's what I'm saying. When this government eventually leaves in 2029, we will know the details. That notwithstanding, I just want to ask. I know if I'm a judge, I'm supposed to live above reproach. So I am caught for stealing. And I'm dealt with according to stealing, which is misbehavior. The law doesn't say that automatically I cease to be a judge. The law says that I must be taken through a certain process and then I'll be removed as a judge. Is that the case? Then if that is the case, there's a process to remove the Chief Justice, which you've gone through it with me. There's a process to remove a judge of the Supreme Court. It is only fair that and proper that you take the basis and whatever ruling, whatever evidence here, and take it through the process of removing a Supreme Court judge. And that is what I think the lady is looking for, basically. At this point, what we are doing is that we are saying that because we found you guilty on one thing, automatically you won't qualify for this. But here we are, and we are all clear in our minds that the person is saying, I wasn't even given a fair trial through this committee. So if she goes through the process of removal of a Supreme Court judge, she may adduce further evidence to, clear herself for certain things that have been made against her. But to say that because the processes of a removal of a Chief Justice have been seen through, and for that reason she has been removed, automatically she ceases to be a judge, is to say that if a judge is found guilty on a crime, automatically that judge ceases to be a judge. When the Constitution or the law itself has given a process that you should take a judge through before they are removed.
Have you tried to look at what the difference is about the procedure for removing a Superior Court judge and the procedure for removing a Chief Justice?
The simplest, one of the basic differences I've realized is that if you're going to remove a Supreme Court judge, the Chief Justice handles that, right?
What do you mean by handles that?
It goes to the Chief Justice. Now, if you look at the committee... It goes
to the President.
Of course, and the Chief Justice...
The petition will go to the President. The President will send it to the Chief Justice.
Yes.
Then the Chief Justice will determine whether there's a case to answer or not.
In this case, the committee, actually the membership of the committee, as to whether they have the jurisdiction to remove a judge of a Supreme Court, is another question. So the fact that the membership of that committee... Oh no, of course. The membership of that committee, do they have proper jurisdiction to remove a judge of the Supreme Court?
Or the committee?
No. The committee. The committee.
That was set up.
That committee has jurisdiction over determining the fate of a Chief Justice. But do they have the jurisdiction over determining the fate of a Supreme Court judge? If they don't, then all you have to do is take whatever it is that they have done, which is now evidence of whatever crime the Chief Justice may have caused, and take her through the process of removing her as a Supreme Court judge and allow her to defend herself.
Okay,
that is the law.
So the Constitution says, the Constitution says, as a Supreme Court judge, or as a Superior Court judge, or as a judge, the only time you may be removed is that you have been found on these grounds, stated misbehavior, incompetence, or inability to perform the functions of your office arising from infirmity of body or mind. Are you saying that if, in this case, having been found guilty of stated misbehavior over financial impropriety, over attempt to appoint extra Supreme Court judges, etc., it can only remove you as a Chief Justice, but not as a Supreme Court judge, regardless that the verdict is that you have been found guilty of stated misbehavior?
That is why I said that. The 1462 is clear. It says that may only be removed by the procedure.
That's 1461.
No, 2. I'm referring to 1462.
Okay.
Yes, I'm referring to 1462. May be removed
in accordance
by the procedure. And if you may, I can even read it. It's 146.
A justice of the Superior Court of Judicature or a chairman of a regional tribunal may
only be removed in accordance with the procedure specified in this article. The procedures are not the same. The procedures for removing the Chief Justice is not the same as the procedure for removing a judge of the Superior Court.
And the only difference, as you have indicated, first and foremost, is that...
Like, I think that is primary. That, for example, on this committee were 2 other Superior Court judges. When you are removing a Chief Justice, would these 2 other Superior Court judges be there? Would Domelevo be there?
Okay, so let's look at it. If you are removing a Superior Court judge, clause 4, where the Chief Justice decides that there is a prima facie case, he shall set up a committee comprising of 3 justices of the Supreme Court, or chairman of the regional tribunals, or both.
Which one are you reading, please?
Clause 4.
Okay.
1464. Appointed by the Judicial Council and 2 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers, and who shall be appointed by the Chief Justice on the advice of the Council of State.
Yes.
So the first difference is that to remove a justice of the Superior Court, Chief Justice will make a prima facie case.
Yes.
And after that, the Chief Justice, together with the Judicial Council, will appoint the members who will form the panel. Then clause 6, where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the President, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. So the appointment of the committee to do the process is done by the President with the Council of State.
For Chief Justice
and
removal.
prima facie is also done by the President with the
for
Council
Chief
of
Justice
State.
removal.
This is the difference.
For Chief Justice removal.
That's right.
But for the removal of a judge of the Supreme Court, the committee should be set up by the Chief Justice, not the President.
With the Judicial Council.
Yes, not the President.
Right.
Secondly, I made a fundamental point, and I think that's what we should all use our mind to. Let's say I'm a Supreme Court judge, and then I'm found to be beating my wife. And so my wife takes me to Dofsu, and Dofsu takes me through all processes, and I'm found to be domestic violence. It doesn't automatically disarm me from being a judge of the Supreme Court.
That's correct.
But somebody can, based on that ruling, now petition the Chief Justice and say, this judge is a woman,
the President.
The President, and say, this judge is a woman beater. I don't know why you allow a woman beater to sit as a judge in this country. The President may now write to the Chief Justice. When the Chief Justice receives that petition, he will check whether me beating my wife, for whatever reason,
it's stated misbehavior.
It's stated misbehavior, and it even affects or impairs my ability to be a judge. If he establishes that, then he will set up a committee for me to come and defend myself. Now, that committee's evidence against me will be that ruling against me being a woman beater.
That's right.
I have to prove to that committee that the fact that I beat my wife in the past doesn't mean that necessarily I cannot execute my function as a judge. You may disagree with this, but this is the law.
The standard is that you are a person of high moral character and proven integrity.
But the law says that she may only. So there is only one procedure. You cannot imply any other procedure.
Okay.
So you may have a very solid ground for thinking that she cannot be a judge. But the law says that you cannot use that procedure of removing a chief justice, which is for the six.
Okay.
To remove a judge, which is for
let me ask
the
you this, and I move on to Roxanne. Hold on.
So what I think anybody should do, now is to simply, like they did for this one, get one of their guys again to write a petition against a woman and take it to the president.
Okay.
Then the president will refer it to the chief justice. Then the chief justice say, Madam, you know you are no longer the chief justice, but people are saying you can no longer be a judge. According to the Constitution, 1464, come and defend yourself. Please. Then the chief justice will form a committee.
So the new chief justice.
Yes, because that is the only way you can remove a judge of the Supreme Court. Please. You cannot use 6 to remove.
So that at her time, there should be a petition sent to her to make a prima facie on herself.
No. The chief justice has now been removed. That is established. He's now been removed.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying that he's been removed as the chief justice.
Hold on. Don't worry. Allow him.
He's been removed as a chief justice, which was a function.
Okay.
Remember, it was a function.
The last question I'm going to ask you, let me put it to Theo Champong. Dr. Theo Champong.
I thought you asked me this.
Dr. Theo Champong, I don't know if you share Dennis's view, but even if you don't, what do you make of the Supreme Court in at least 3 different decisions, even though those pronouncements are not what we call the star decisis that decides the case? You see that prima facie for a chief justice is actually not in the Constitution. It is the Supreme Court that made a decision and said the same way that if you are removing any judge or a judge of the Superior Court, you get the CJ to make a prima facie. If you want to remove the Chief Justice, you must also do a prima facie. It's not in the Constitution. The Supreme Court said it, and now it has become part of our law. This same Supreme Court, on 3 different occasions, has made pronouncements which we can say are not law. But they say that if a Chief Justice is removed, they are equally removed as a Justice of the Superior Court. Do you think it's as straight as this one?
Yeah, so fundamentally, the point that I have been asking myself, right, is does the Constitution treat the Chief Justice and then the Justice of the Supreme Court as distinct constitutional roles with separate sort of appointment routes? And if that were the case, then in other words, does the removal of a Chief Justice then automatically also remove her as a justice of the Supreme Court? Because that's the core and the argument that Justice Torkornoo really, right, is making. And my view, or sort of what she's arguing, right, is that these are very 2 distinct roles. And when you look at the constitutional provisions that others have cited, the processes for the removal are slightly different, but the grounds for removal is pretty much the same. So in my view, the starting point is 1461, right? And the 1461, which you read, which I luckily have my old copy here as well, says that a justice of the Superior Court or a chairman of a regional tribunal shall not be removed from office except on those 3 grounds which you read: stated misbehavior, incompetence, or grounds of inability to perform due to infirmity of body or mind. Then the 1462 all the way to 1466 really gives the process for the removal. So for me, the point that I argue my position on is the first 1461, the beginning point, a justice of the Superior Court. Is the Chief Justice a justice of the Superior Court? Yes. Was she removed on any of these 3 grounds: stated misbehavior, incompetence, or inability to perform? And we know that per the report that was issued, she has been removed on the grounds of stated misbehavior. And it's quite clear I'm no lawyer, but just reading this and applying sort of logic to all of this, once she has been removed as the Chief Justice, automatically she loses her position as a Justice of the Supreme Court on the grounds of the stated behavior or incompetence or any of the other things that have been mentioned. So I don't want to beat about the bush. The starting point, which is very clear to me, is 1461. The 1462 and all the other processes around that to 6 is really in terms of the process by which you go about doing that removal. And if she has been removed on the basis of stated misbehavior, and it says in the 1461, a justice of the Superior Court, then I struggle to see personally, how we could sort of argue that the two are distinct roles. But again, she has the right to go to court. And this going to court or even taking it up in other sort of separate legal processes can only help improve our jurisprudence, right? We are debating this. If she goes and the court rules in a separate way, that becomes a settled law. But as far as I have read this constitution, especially on the 1461 and the grounds for removal, that clearly says that a justice of the Superior Court, and the Chief Justice is a justice of the Superior Court. In this case here, it's a bit of a, for me, moot point to sort of argue that the two are slightly distinct, and therefore she cannot be removed. Once she's been removed as a justice, as a Chief Justice, then she should still stay as a justice of the Supreme Court. I mean, even put the legalities aside, but in terms of even the optics, right? How do you then still go back to the court, engage with your other colleagues and all of that? It doesn't really kind of come across right.
Thank you very much. Do you still want to say something? Hold on. Please hold on. So as Roxanne referred to the 3 cases, in 1996, in the Justice Saban case, Justice Pega said that the removal of the Chief Justice as a fallout, a judge of the Supreme Court, the substratum of the plaintiff case was that as we have stated earlier, is that the second defendant is not a man of high moral character and proving integrity to be the Chief Justice. Ipso facto, a judge of the Supreme Court, since the qualifications are admittedly the same, or if the second defendant is disqualified from occupying the post of Chief Justice on grounds of lack of integrity, I do not see how he can continue to be a judge of the Supreme Court. And then in 2006, 2005, Modibo Okran in that other case says, with no such gap filling, one is left only with Article 146, Clause 1. And since the removal of the Chief Justice of Ghana from office is pegged to the same set of grounds as any other Superior Court judge, the Chief Justice, upon removal, will by implication also lose his position as a judge, unfortunate as it may be.
Yes, Sam, this matter actually came up in the Asiedu case. There was an issue. And the court determined that issue. So here's what Justice Dr. said. Are the administrative acts of the Chief Justice immune from the impeachment process? The next declaration, so I want to read. I won't say anything. I just want to read what he wrote quickly.
Yeah.
The next declaration whose grant or refusal I will consider is the first one sought by the plaintiff. It will be recalled that the declaration sought is in the following terms. A declaration that the petition dated 13th January 2006 presented by Mr. Brian Akote to the President, which relates to the removal of the Chief Justice, is in respect of the performance of administrative functions of the CJ within the meaning of Article 1254 of the Constitution, and is therefore inconsistent with the said article. Then he went on, but this is where he exploded. He exploded this way. He said, I think that the plaintiffs, or let me give this argument. Further in paragraph 8, he sums out the essence of his argument as follows. The exercise of administrative powers by the Chief Justice, such as the transfer of enforcement of discipline among judges, enjoys complete autonomy and freedom from interference by the executive and parliament. The effect of the President's appointment of Committee 2, in essence, question or inquire into the exercise of those administrative powers by the Chief Justice, is to violate clear constitutional dictates and can properly be regarded as a breach of Article 1271 and 2. It undermines the authority conferred on the Chief Justice by Article 1254 as Chief Executive of the Judiciary responsible for administration and supervision of the judiciary. Surely, transfers and dismissals of judges by the Chief Justice cannot be considered acts of misbehavior or corruption. Assuming, arguing though, that the 3 judges named in the petition have genuine grievances, it will be proper for them to seek relief on their own. The proper course should be to commence an action in the courts for a declaration that their transfer or dismissal, as the case may be, is wrong in law. So that the bar exploded this way. I think that the plaintiff's argument on this issue is founded on the fallacy that a Chief Justice's conduct in the administration of the judiciary can never be construed as stated misbehavior or incompetence within the meaning of Article 146 of the Constitution. Other justices of the Superior Court also have administrative responsibilities, such as the supervising High Court judges or judges representing the Judicial or the General Legal Council. I believe that it will be dangerous and not in the public interest to uphold a proposition in relation to all such judges that the administrative acts cannot ever be the substance of a charge of stated misbehavior within the meaning of 1261. As far as the Chief Justice is concerned, I think it is reasonable to link his conduct of his administrative responsibilities with his position as Justice of all the Superior Courts. Justices of all the Superior Courts are required to adhere by certain judicial ethics, which can be infringed by the conduct of a Chief Justice in the performance of administrative acts. It is therefore unacceptable to exclude a priori all administrative acts of the Chief Justice from scrutiny as possible evidence of stated misbehavior in his capacity as Justice of the Superior Court. So finally, he had this to say. Moreover, the fact that it is the President who establishes the committee under Article 146 to investigate all allegations that the Chief Justice has been guilty of, such as malfeasance of his administrative responsibilities, as to bring him within the meaning of stated misbehavior under 146(1), does not necessarily imply executive interference in the affairs of the judiciary. I accordingly find merit in the counter-arguments of the second defendant set on. So clearly, when the argument is, they are making the argument as though the Chief Justice.
You said you only read and it will be enough.
Yes, the Chief Justice is decouplable from his role as a Justice of the Superior Court.
Okay,
and that
so Dennis, the final comment in a minute that you are going to make it on the back of this question by Kofi. He's asking a question. If the petitioner's relief was for the removal of Torkornoo as a Justice of the Superior Court, what would have been the procedure? If that relief were to have been granted, could she have remained CJ on grounds of constitutional procedural variations? If it was to remove her as a judge and she got removed, would she stay as a Chief Justice?
So you see, you have to be a Superior Court judge before you can be a Chief Justice. I did that logic in Legon. It's very simple. You cannot be a Chief Justice if you are not a Superior Court judge. But you can be a Supreme Court judge without being a Chief Justice.
That one, I don't even know if it's a fact.
No.
The President cannot appoint the Chief Justice from outside.
I hear you can be appointed from practice. I hear you can be appointed from a lawyer. But the argument still stays. The argument still means that you don't have to be.
But automatically you become a judge.
I'm only helping. It's okay. Yes.
Don't help me. I am saying that you have to be a Supreme Court judge or come from somewhere before you can be a Chief Justice.
Therefore.
But you can be a judge, a Supreme Court judge, without being a Chief Justice. So that answer is quite clear. The point we are making is that the framers of the law are clear. They are saying that if you want to remove a judge of the Superior Court, this is the process. If you want to remove a Chief Justice, this is the process. Now, this is where the difference is. There is a clear distinction between the composition of the committee that removes a Chief Justice and the composition of the committee that removes a judge of the Superior Court. And it makes a difference.
Which is just to avoid conflict.
It is not just. There is a reason why if I go to the High Court and a judge rules against me, I go to the Appeal Court. There is even a reason why, even at the Superior Court, they can rule against me in a matter. But I will appeal, they will bring one more judge, and I'll win. So there is a big difference It is not just.
You're confused.
It is not just. I am not. There's a big difference.
The
You
CJ
see, when you look at, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this.
No.
When you look at the composition, when you look at the composition of the committees that remove a CJ and a judge, is different. The president must appoint certain people. I think for the Chief Justice, the president must have 2 Supreme Court judges and 3 non-judges. For the
then
judge
the
of the
position
Supreme
of the CJ
please. But when it comes to when it comes to the removal of the judge of the Superior Court, the Supreme Court judges must be 3. Do you know what it means? What it means is that you give me the opportunity to go and face the committee that has a responsibility to now remove me as a judge. Because I can be a judge without being the Chief Justice.
Interesting.
I have been removed as a Chief Justice, but I come to you. And I'm telling you that in spite of this established case against me, it doesn't incapacitate me from playing my duties or playing my role as a judge, because the issues based on which I'm being removed as a Chief Justice were pure administrative issues. They were pure administrative issues that came about simply because I was a Chief Justice and not because I had a challenge in the application of the law as a judge.
Thank you. Yes, Clara.
It failed 30 years ago.
Let Clara end with us.
Yes.
So this is where, after Clara, the show is over. We're unable to move to the Imani Paul's report about dissipating goodwill for the NDC.
It's gone. Except for 2%.
There's Asiedu Nketia going around.
Level 2%.
Yes.
You has done the analysis.
Yes. What specifically do you want me to address?
Whether you have anything else to say about the removal process.
No, for the removal process, no, I don't have anything to say. Like I said, the procedure is pretty simple. And once the person is occupying the role as CJ, I mean, it's just common sense. You have to, whatever accusation you make against them, you have to use the procedure provided for CJ. So I won't split heads. I don't have any other views on that.
Like Sophia Akufu said in one of her interviews, this is de minimis.
Yes.
The law does not.
Yes, diminished non-curious
lex.
Yes.
Oh, the CJ has, formidable lawyers herself.
No, for me, I like what the CJ is doing. For my person, I like what the CJ is doing. I like anybody who fights for their rights. And that's what the CJ is doing.
Okay.
So whichever way she believes in it, I would applaud and respect the CJ for going all out. One, because I respect people who stand up for themselves. And then 2, because it also helps us to build our democracy. For being in court, I am with the Chief Justice on that one. I support her being in court.
Okay. Kingsley said, whichever way you are removed as a Superior Court judge, period. He says that Dennis is deconstructing the Constitution wrongly. The Chief Justice was first a Superior Court judge before a CJ. The procedure to remove her as a CJ is different from Superior Court judge. Here, Champion's explanation is superior. He has explained it properly. So thanks to Theo Champon. And then on the matters of Galamsey, I couldn't read any comment, but I'll read this very one comment. It says, why are we, this from George, says, why are we equating state of emergency with abuse of human rights? They shouldn't make the logical error of conflating possibility with certainty. Non-derogable rights don't extinguish under SOE. Certain rights may not automatically be suspended. The SOE is state of emergency. Certain rights may not automatically be suspended. The right to life, freedom from torture, slavery, recognition before the law, and freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. It is only when the state derogates from these that breaches occur. We've got to be blunt now. The one thing that a coup maker can exploit is the legitimate public concern and anger against the environmental suicide we are committing. If an adventurous rises citing Galamsey, our government will fall and there will be no human rights. They say war is an acronym for waive all rights. Okay, so we should do the state of emergency now. Clara Berry, thank you so very much. Dr. Theo Champon, Dennis Miracles Abuaje and Roxanne Nelson Dafiamapo. I'm Samson Ladia Yenini. Thank you. My outfit, as always, is by Konati Clothing 0244676732. Have a good afternoon.
MTN. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner.
Where Duraplas goes, water flows.
PS Industries has introduced a new roofing system known as ColorLink Plus.
Best Brain Publication is an educational publishing firm with an in-depth knowledge in the new standard-based curriculum. We deliver quality content by investing in authorial skills and editorial refinement. Our team of experts have meticulously developed books in all subject areas.
Yes, I did it! Dudu, how did you do it? I used the best way book to connect the computer. Oh, that's my ball!
All our books rest on 6 broad core skills: creativity and imagination, student leadership, citizenship, critical thinking and problem solving, digital literacy, collaboration and communication. For preschool, we have literacy, numeracy, phonics and writing. For kindergarten, we have literacy, numeracy, our world and our people, creative arts, phonics, writing and picture reading. For basic 1 to 6, we have mathematics, science, English, our world and our people, computing, history, religious and moral education, creative arts, Asante Chi and Ekuapem Chi. For basic 7, 8 and 9, we have mathematics, science, religious and moral education, social studies, creative arts, career technology and computing. And we also have questions and answers for all subjects. We have provided links and QR codes under the various topics in our books to link to the world and find out what other people are also learning. Contact us on 0507 200 200. Best Brain Publication. Tomorrow's education today.
Still, Misaka, and Nemum was a summer brabo, and it can afford Swabrabo.
Misaka pensions, Carol.
Misaka or the Sika.
Misaka insurance.
Misaka loan.
Momo Fogusuri echumaden, the aboye nyina ye sika ho ban. Se MTN ana momo jumayeni befrewa or the 0244 300,000 ene befrew. Na numpo orin bitsaw one time password ana se upin code enti wonso ye wa femu die na ma weni na ho na wonsa enka momo.
Smile, Look lively, okay? Smile. Is the money too small?
A bad stomach ruins your day. Don't let it. Take Gastron, your most effective antacid for the relief of symptoms of peptic ulcer, heartburn, gas pain, flatulence, and indigestion.
Hey guys, what are you waiting for? Let's go.
Mwah. Can you bring down the smiles more?
Gastron, effective relief from stomach discomfort. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
The Infantapim Old Boys Association MOBA presents the 10th edition of the MOBA Annual Engagement Series. Theme, Nananum Mutaipa, 149 years of sustaining legacy, building excellence. The date is on Thursday, the 25th of September 2025. The venue is the EcoBank Head Office Auditorium at Rage in Accra. The time is 4:30 4:30 p.m. Panelists include David Aduashon, MOBA 75, Bernard Charles Aqua, MOBA 85, Professor Lord Mensah, MOBA 95, and Augustine Owuswansa, MOBA 2005. The moderator is Emmanuel Doni Kwame, MOBA 85. This event is sponsored by EcoBank Ghana Limited. Media partners: Joy FM, Joy News, Asasi Radio, and Graphic Communications Group Limited. For further information, call 050-318-6258 or 020-460-9980. Kwaboche,
Ghana, the wait is over. The grand finale of the Energy Commission Senior High School's Renewable Energy Challenge is here. Watch as 6 outstanding schools, Presbyterian Boys SHS Presekli Gone, Adidome Senior High School, Ahantaman Girls Senior High School, Ola Girls Secondary School Kenyase, Damongo Senior High School, and Dabopa Technical Institute compete for the ultimate title of Ghana's Clean Energy Champion. Join us on Tuesday, 7th October 2025 at the Accra International Conference Center at 10 a.m. Who will rise to the top? Catch the thrilling finals live on Joy News at 10 a.m. prompt. The Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge is powered by the Energy Commission and the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition in partnership with the Ghana Education Service and the Ghana TVET Service, and with support from GIZ, Ashes University, Volta River Authority, Greenfield Ambassadors, Star Oil, and the PURC. Media partner Joy News.
Hello there again, and thank you for joining us on the Joy News channel. Welcome to The Sages. And as always, we hear intriguing stories from people who have contributed to the development of our nation. Well, today we're spending time with one man who I would want to describe as the star of Osino. But when you do that, the Accra Academy boys will come at you. So yes, you are also in the story, you're in the picture, and you're taking some shine of that, of course, as old students of the Accra Academy School. But we can't leave out the University of Ghana, because that's also one place that shaped this individual that we're about to talk about. And for those who are historians, you may have chanced on his literary works in maybe any of the libraries in some of the academic institutions. And that's why I'm excited to be here today, to hear from him, to hear much more about Ghana's history, and more importantly also to track his journey into the world of history. I'm talking about Professor Robert Adu Fenin, who is my guest for today on The Sages. Hello, Prof. It's good to be with you. Quite relaxed at home now, isn't it?
Thank you very much.
How are you feeling?
Well, at 90, I can't complain.
Definitely. And of course, we're happy to be with you because we've heard so much about you. We've read about your works as well. And it will be a great time for our viewers as well to get to know much more about you. And for those who've been reading so much about you who would want to know a bit more. I was talking about being the star of Osino. I don't know if you want to take that accolade, but that's where it all started from, I believe. So bring us into that start of that story. How was your upbringing like in that era until, of course, the university chapter and the University of Ghana?
Well, I was born on the 7th of March, 1935.
That must be a long time ago.
Yes. And I was raised by my grandmother because in my infancy, my father and my mother were married